What up, though, One Pride? This is the Royal Alliance UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey. It is on a Wednesday evening, which can only mean one thing. It is the college football podcast, a fistful of dollars. Ryan, we are well and truly on the path to the draft now. The All-Star games have come, the All-Star games have gone, and now we begin the run to the combine. This is all starting to get very real for the guys in the 2024 draft.
Yep, these were your last chances to book your spot for the combine. A lot of people have made it. Interestingly, some people haven't that did have good all-star games. But yeah, like we're pretty much now in draft stock season, mock drafts now. Pretty much are just going to be on a regular week basis for most people between now and the end of March. So yeah, it's firmly now the handbrake has been taken off.
Exactly. For those of us who love our college, this is our favorite part. You get to do all the draft reviews, you get to watch all the tape. I'm doing it incessantly right now. And these All-Star games have brought some new names to the radar, and that is what they are all about. It is about taking your chance to shine. So, as you are aware, me and Ryan last week we did our review of the Shrine Bowl. We talked through the game, then we talked about the week of practice, which players we liked, who did well, etc. And we're going to give that same treatment this week to its bigger brother, the Senior Bowl. So again, we're going to go through the game. We're going to talk a little bit about practice, whose stock's gone up, whose stock's gone down, etc. in that same format. And then we're going to have a little chat about the combine. As Ryan mentioned, the invites list was released yesterday. So there were some notable snubs. We're going to talk about them. And then maybe a few players who are on there who deserve to be, who combine could be a make or break thing for them. And of course, of always, if you've got questions during the evening, just let us know and we'll get around to answering those at a suitable point of the show. Let's just get all the housekeeping out the way first. Royal Lines UK Discord, if you want in, let us know. We'll fire you a link for that. The main podcast was this Monday just gone. We discussed the Super Bowl as much as we didn't really want to because we should have been in it, and also the nominations for our awards show, which is on Monday, the biggest night of the year. We all come dressed up and glammed and glitzed. We do our Royal Alliance Awards. That is coming this Monday. Do come and join us for that. And do give us your input as well. We've got loads of categories in there. We'll keep putting it up there for you, but we've got a little form you can fill in. Let us know your players of the year, moments of the year, plays of the year, all that good stuff. There are fan awards in there, and we want you all to take part with that. Don't forget about Lion Station Unite, Herman Moore's project to bring together the best in Lions content creators from across YouTube. You can usually find me on the Tuesday show with Micro Mike, amongst many other great ones on there. Don't forget, we are monetized on YouTube. We are a Twitch affiliate. We have a tip jar, so if you want to help us that way, that's great, but we just love having you all in the building. And we've got, what's the other one? Feedback form. Yeah, you want to fill that in. Anything about the show you want to change, anything you want to add, let us know. And we shall get on with that. Right, that is all the housekeeping out the way. So let us go straight into it. And as I say, this week, Ryan, we're talking Senior Bowl. This is the bigger brother of the Shrine Bowl, the one that gets all the glitz, the glamour. It's organized by Jim Nagy. It's all this big thing. But just to start this off, I don't know about you, but I had a lot more pleasant viewing experience for the Shrine Bowl. I loved watching the Shrine Bowl a lot more than I did this game. Although a lot of decent things happened, but I feel like the Shrine Bowl's become too much of a spectacle now. It's going away from its roots as an all-star game and like letting the athletes get in there and sort of show themselves. For me, it's becoming a bit of a circus.
Yeah, this Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, this Senior Bowl, it was a tough watch. It was not good. Like to say there's a lot of household names and a lot of like top caliber draft talent. A lot of them struggled and they did not do themselves any favors, if I'm completely honest. At practice, at games, quarterback play in general, bad. like I say, defense is out on top. Yeah, this one was one for the purists. But yeah, some of these guys, I look at them and just feel like you probably don't need to be here. Like, there's guys that barely practiced, barely even featured in the game, and probably could consider anywhere top 50 draft pick. Like, you're probably taking a spot from a guy that someone actually needs it.
Yeah,
Like
this is
someone like Michael Penix Jr. didn't
yeah.
need to be here this week. Like, I get it, but he needs to show his face and he has to be around there. But yeah, there are people out there that probably could have taken that spot and maybe been it would have done them a lot more good than it would have other people. So yeah, it's a weird one. Like I say, this one is more of just a who's who of who's who than
Yeah.
you're going to go from a seventh rounder to a first rounder playing in the Senior Bowl. If
Yeah.
anything, more guys probably hurt their stock than actually improved it.
Well, defensively, I think this was a tale of two things. Defense like upped their stock, offense down their stock would be the way to describe this one. But just one thing, I know no one from the Senior Bowl's listening, but stop doing interviews during the game. I want to watch the game. I don't want to be watching interviews while the game's taking place on the field behind you and I can't see what's happening because trying to write down the plays for this has been a nightmare. But hey ho, we get on with it. Just a shout out to everyone who's with us this evening. I'm not in Twitch at the moment. I should probably get in there just to make sure that I don't miss anything. But I've seen that Brent's in the chat on YouTube. Brent, I hope you're doing well. I know you are recovering from your medical issues, so hopefully everything is going all right. It's good to see you in the building. Appreciate you've been with us, even though you're going through all that at the minute. So yeah, we hope you're doing well. I've seen Mile Market in the building as well. Hope you're doing well again. You want to ask us anything while we're on during the evening, then yeah, just let us know. And then on Twitch, I will be in there any moment now. I'm in. So if anyone's knocking around on Twitch, X Lost Oceans goes here, but lurking and working in the background. Excited to hear about the Senior Bowl. Well, let us not disappoint you then. Let us get on to it. So we're going to do the same as we did with the Shrine Bowl. We're going to talk about the game first. Then we're going to talk about the practice week and what went on in that, and then give an overall view of what happened afterwards. So, as Ryan mentioned, like the Senior Bowl is where a lot of players don't play, and like it's you think there'd be a lot of prospects out there who could benefit from being in this game, but there were quite a few of the prospects who chose not to play in this game. Some of the bigger names, obviously Washington QB Michael Penix has already been mentioned. Laiatu Latu, the UCLA edge, did not play. Michigan, the wide receiver Roman Wilson, didn't play. Everybody's favorite draft rush for the Lions right now, Jackson Powers Johnson, did not play. Neither did Taliese Fuaga, the Oregon State right tackle. Peyton Wilson, the NC State linebacker, didn't play. Quinion Mitchell, the Toledo cornerback, didn't play, which I thought was a little bit of an odd one, given he could do with taking on better receivers and showing that he can do it for his stock. But hey ho, and also Western Kentucky wide receiver Malachi Corley. They were among some of the bigger names. But a lot of others didn't play either. So Braden Fiske, the Florida State defensive tackle, he had to trade. He was traded on the day. He was traded teams because of withdrawals and that. His team only had 3 defensive linemen for the day, and of course you can't just rotate 3 guys in for a full game. So he was brought across, and then one of the other sides was playing with 3 wide receivers, and they were all absolutely gassed at the end of this game. So maybe goes some way to explaining what happened there. But let's get down into the game, and I've just got to get to my notes. So in the Shrine Bowl, you get the East and the West team. In the Senior Bowl, you get the National and you get the American. And I just need to, I've got so many pages of notes here. So the American, they started this one off. Their first drive, Spencer Rattler, South Carolina quarterback, was at the helm to start this game. The only one who came out of this game with any credit. But this started off with TCU running back Imani Bailey. He had a run for 8 down the right-hand side of the line. He hit a nice gap there. He was tackled by Oregon's Evan Williams. Spencer Rattler then finds Imani Bailey through the air. He sneaks out the backfield. He gets another 14 yards, but he's well tackled by Braden Fiske, who's come back from the D-line and makes a great recovery tackle there. Bailey again then hits a gap between the left tackle and the left guard for 7 more on a run. He then gets a 4th touch in the row, up the gut, this time for another 7, and gets his 2nd first down of the game. He gets the first 2 of the game. The tackle there was by Virginia State's Willie Drew, one of the FCS players. And then Bailey gets his 5th touch in a row. He gets another run, but it is blown up by Notre Dame linebacker J.D. Bertrand, who blows it up for a 1-yard loss. So then Missouri running back Cody Schrader comes in. Rattler throws a screen pass to him. He gets the catch. It's a really good catch. He turns. He runs over Notre Dame cornerback Cam Hart and carries Illinois defensive lineman Keith Randolph Jr. over the line to gain for about 12. It was a really good play from Cody Schrader there. And then the touchdown pass, Spencer Rattler to Marcus Rosemy Jacksaint. He throws up a beautiful pass on a fade. MRJ straight up beats Virginia State's Willie Drew in press coverage. Drew tries to keep up with him, but he makes the mistake of looking round for the ball, and MRJ separates for him. He goes up with a great grab for a 29-yard touchdown score. Will Rijkaard hits the PAT, and very quickly in this one, the Americans go 7-0 up, but big part of the workload to Imani Bailey, the undersized backer from TCU. This is exactly the sort of start he needed for it. A bit of Schrader, a bit of Jacksaint, and Rattler looked really good on this first drive.
Yep, this was all she wrote for good offensive football. Basically, one good drive, and it was good enough to get Rattler get MVP. His job was done after one drive, and some people, like say, have said he's thrust himself back into the QB competition. I'm not going to get that carried away like some people are with. I was never that high. But yeah, it was a good methodical drive. On the day, catching the ball at the backfield, Schrader had a very good day as a receiving weapon. Caught everything that came his way. And Imani Bailey, yeah, total yardage for the day was very good. But yeah, running the ball, like I say, he's undersized, he's a bit light, but it showed, like I say, some physicality, some elusiveness. And the score in the end was a good ball in a good area. Like I say, defensive back makes that slight little hesitation, that little mistake, and that was all that happened for the receiver to beat him, come down with the ball and make the score. But yeah, they worked their way down the field really nicely. Strong, methodical drive, and it was capped off with a good touchdown. And yeah, some of them had already done their work for the entire day at that point. But yeah, they started off well, and the defense just was sluggish on the opening drive, especially tackling base.
Yeah, but of course, the one good play would come from J.D. Bertrand. He's a bit of a monster, isn't he, the Notre Dame linebacker?
Yeah, and he's interesting because he kind of feels like a hybrid. I see, look at his size. He feels like a linebacker, strong safety kind of guy. I think he's only like 6'1", so he's not the biggest, but yeah, he's a thumper. He is especially good at line of scrimmage and making plays in the backfield. I do like him as an option, as a rotational piece that has some versatility, I feel like, being at that kind of size and weight.
Yeah, definitely so. But yeah, great start for the American team there. So the National get their chance to respond with their first drive. Starting quarterback for them, Oregon's Bo Nix. And I mean, they take inspiration from the Detroit Lions here. The first play of the game is a flea flicker to start proceedings, and Nix absolutely hoiks the ball nearly 60 yards down the field. It's a humongous throw to Devontae Walker. It's a little in front of him, but he drops a one-handed catch attempt whilst he's under pressure from Auburn's DJ James. It's a tough grab, but they're kind of the ones, if you get them, they really immediately blown up by Mississippi State linebacker Nathaniel Watson with a huge hit. He took him down town, and they have to punt. Tory Taylor hits it all the way to the American 22. Tory Taylor, of course, the Iowa punter, the Ray Guy winner. Who else is going to win it but Iowa's punter? He's a special player. But one great offensive drive to start off, Ryan, then one really good defensive drive. But Tay Walker's week, it was marred by drops, and this was a tough one. It was a little in front of him, but we've kind of seen him make grabs like that before, and they're ones he should be taking.
Yeah, it usually one or two big plays are enough to kind of like consolidate your week. But I liked the play design straight away because it shows Nix has got a decent arm. He gets it downfield. He puts it in a place to be caught. And unfortunately, in the Senior Bowl, you're lucky if you get more than a handful of targets, even more than one drive before you basically sub down. You've got to make them count. And yeah, bad week. And also, his season has been a bit of a disaster, isn't it? Because not his fault, is it? This is Tez Walker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. His season, like I say, has been mad controversy. It took so long for him to get on the field. And yeah, the whole thing has been pretty bad this year. Not for, like I say, but personally for him, like I say, for his draft stock, not being able to get on the field. And like I say, he needed this week. But yeah, we've seen drops, miscommunications. And yeah, it was catchable. He'd have wanted that one back. And that probably could have been the play of the day if he completes it. So yeah, frustrating for them, let's say, to start to not follow up quickly. But yeah, great tackle by Nathaniel, the mistake linebacker. Like you say, just wiping out the tight end. That's the kind of player where you get your name circled at the end of the days. Someone to keep an eye out for. So yeah, they took their chances, but yeah, quick turn out. And Tory Taylor, great season, great week, great day. He was a busy boy, like I say, but yeah, his draft stock is just through the roof right now. He's by far the best punter in the draft.
Oh, absolutely. He's you're not going to keep him down there, so it's yeah. he's the one who's going to go quite high in this, I think. But he's a great punter. But anyhow, yeah, stop there by the American defense. So the American get their second drive. Cody Schrader, he starts this one off, the Missouri running back. Run stopped by Braden Fiske. So Braden Fiske is lined up over run at Schrader and brings him down for a 1 yard loss. There's nothing Cody Schrader can do about it. It's just a bad play design or it's a missed assignment. I don't know, but the right tackle just runs away from Braden Fiske and allows him to make the play. But the easiest tackle for loss in his life. Spencer Rattler then finds Jaheim Bell on the screen. He gets nearly 20, but the Houston left tackle Patrick Poole is pinged for illegal man downfield. So it gets put back to 2nd and 16. Rattler then with a check down to Schrader, and he makes Washington State cornerback Chow Smith-Wade completely miss an open field tackle with his movement. He stutter steps him, completely leaves him for dead. He gets 11 yards, and it takes 3 guys to bring him down. It's a really good play by Schrader there. Then on the 3rd and 5th, as a result of this, it's a toss to Schrader, but the play is blown up by Notre Dame cornerback Cam Hart, who reads it perfectly for a tackle for loss. The punt then from the American team goes to the national 25. Luke McCaffrey, the Rice wide receiver and family member of Christian, returns it to the 47. Decent little return there. But again, second drive from the American right. We've seen good plays from Spencer Rattler. Cody Schrader starts to shine, but defense starting to take over in this one. And penalties as well. These All-Star games, penalties just get you.
Yeah, the penalties last week at the Shrine Bowl. How many offensive linemen were penalised last week? It just murdered drives. And yeah, it's already started bad this week. Like I said, Bell is an interesting prospect because he's tight end, but he's a super small tight end. So he's kind of a betweener. Makes a good play out in space. Big chunk play, called back, and then, yeah, kind of tough sledding from there. Like I said, Cam Hart is a corner I like. He's got good size. He shows he can tackle. He looks every bit of that 6'1.5". Like you say, he is not afraid to get down and dirty running backs. And yeah, just like that, next thing you know, they're punting. And for a guy like Luke McCaffrey to make an NFL roster, he's going to have to show he can return the ball. I feel like special teams are going to be pretty big to his future as development guy. And yeah, good return, get some extra yardage, and give some just great field position. That's all you can really ask on special teams. That is definitely one way to get your name and your face noticed at an all-star game, is big special teams players. We saw one last week, and now we see one, like I said, this week, consistency. So yeah, those are key reps for guys that didn't get too many actual targets in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out to be pretty big because on the national second drive, they start off with a run for 8. I've no idea who it's by as they're interviewing Terrell Owens at this point. I think it's Kamani Vidal, but I have to be checked on that. But then a big 20-yard run by Kamani Vidal. He hits the seam up the middle, follows his blocks really well, gets extra yardage after contact before going down. We know the Troy running back. He's tough, he's physical, really showed it there. Bo Nix then finds Penn State tight end Theo Johnson. He'd motioned cross formation and he threw out wide to him. He gets 7 before a really good perimeter tackle from, again, Mississippi State linebacker Nathaniel Watts, whose name gets mentioned all day. Then you've got a good 8-yard run from South Dakota State running back Isaiah Davis. Showed really quick feet to get out past the left tackle. He cut back inside to make the edge defender whiff. Then he cuts back out past the linebacker. It's a terrific tackle by Cal linebacker Jackson Sermon, who was a late call up to this. He gets off his block, I think it's from Ben Sinnott, flings himself across to grab Davis's ankles and hold on, and Javon Bullard helps get him down, but big play otherwise. Davis is gone. Nix then across the middle for UCF's Javon Baker. A touchdown-saving tackle at the 2-yard line from Kentucky linebacker Jevin Wallace, who brushes off a stiff arm from him to bring him down. It's a really good play, but they're at the 2. Kamani Vidal has a run for no gain. He's back in the I. He bounces out left. He breaks a tackle, but then a really good one-on-one tackle from Auburn's Jalen Simpson. The DB stops him getting into the end zone. But then we get the touchdown pass. Bo Nix finds Minnesota tight end Brevin Spann-Ford. He's meant to block on this play, but he gets shook off and goes down onto all fours before he gets up and pretends nothing's happened, and he runs a route in the end zone. Nix with I must say this, a really bad throw. It's really far behind Spanford, who does really well to adjust, get down, catch it, and keep hold. The PAT comes from Stanford's Joshua Carty. It's good, so it's 7 apiece. Right, I mean, in this one, you know, the small school guys come to this fore. Kamani Vidal, Isaiah Davis make plays, and then we talked about Brevin Spanford. I think he was in your team to watch for this. They said the one thing he needs about his game, he's a really good blocker, and he was a great blocker on this drive, but he needs more touchdowns to show he can work as a receiver. And on a really bad pass from Nix, he looked very natural in his receiving ability there, and that'll have done him the world of good.
Yeah, tough sledding for this drive. Kamani Vidal just doing a lot of dirty work. That's what he likes to do because he's smaller, he's physical, he's compact. He's a well-built, shorter guy that has been able to carry the workload all year. Isaiah Davis on the flip side is a big physical brute. The guy's well over 6 foot and he's got some proper muscle behind him, and he flexed that on that drive. And yeah, they chip away, work their way downfield. Another odd, like I say, time pass. And then touchdown's funny because Spanford looks like you don't even know how he's got there. I say he looked like the whole thing happened by design or by fake, like an accident. And he's just kind of like there and open. And yeah, Nix, total misfire. He almost gives him like the will to do. But I said, like, say, Spanford, such a brilliant frame. The guy is a pretty monster, but such little workload or production in time Minnesota. Never a facet of their passing game. And if you're going to make it a tight end in NFL, if you can block, you've got to be good in the red zone. If you're going to get so few chances in a season, you've got to make them count when they come. And he does. Yeah, so the 2-yard connection. And it caps off a drive that they really did need because they couldn't go back-to-back without getting anything. That was the first one. And yeah, Like I say, they worked the outside, they worked defensive backs. There were some good, strong tackles to stop big gains. But yeah, they were moving the American team were moving the chains pretty consistently. And Nick's, yeah, good array. But yeah, right now I'd say the running backs probably doing most of the heavy work in this game right now on both sides of the ball.
And it was good to see Isaiah Davis get his touches. You know, the South Dakota State guy. He's shifty. That's the one thing I took from this because I've not seen as much. But the dude's got really quick feet and can use that to exploit the gaps as to when they appear.
Yeah, he's big. He's one of the bigger backs at like 6'1", like 225. He's a big back, but yeah, he can shift. He's got good footwork. He's got good balance, good contact balance as well. For someone that's big, can be hard to bring down, and that's not normally what you find about bigger backs. So yeah, he's an interesting blend of small school with big school production, but also like built like he's off like a production line as well. Kind of what you want the modern running back to look like. 6'1", 6'6.5". Like he can carry a workload. Like I say, he's got that. He can take some wear and tear if you ask him to.
Yeah, and he's done it against some of the bigger boys now, which will raise interest in him. So 7 apiece after 2 drives, and this thinking, oh, you know, this could be a good amount of offense in this game. So the American third drive then comes in, and so Joe Milton comes in for this drive. You Michigan fans will know him very well, but more recently with Tennessee, and it's a really bad first play from him. So Milton rolls out of a collapsing pocket to the right. He's looking downfield. He can see the pressure coming towards him, and he takes a huge 9-yard sack instead of throwing it away. Like he can see the guys rushing at him. He just stands there and takes the sack. Partly down to, so it's Western Michigan edge Marshawn Nealand and Washington linebacker Edafwan Ulafosio who combine for the sack there. As I say, big 9-yard loss. Imani Bailey then hits a run up the middle for 11 to get that yardage back. Ulafosio again does tremendously to get off a block from Kansas State tight end Ben Sinnott and bring down Bailey from behind. This was a good drive for Ulo. Milton then scrambles up the middle for 8 to get the first down. Cedric Gray, the UNC linebacker, makes the tackle there. Milton then finds Amali Bailey out the backfield for 6. He leaks out the backfield again and gets out of bounds. Milton then finds Ben Sinnott on a crosser for 3, but it's a wonderful open field tackle from Utah safety Cole Bishop, who had a really good game to prevent the first down there. And that stop becomes even bigger because at 3rd and 1, Milton gets harassed by Kansas D lineman Austin Booker, and he throws a terrible attempt at a check down to Amani Bailey, throws it right out of bounds and completely misses him. And the Americans have to punt. Again, right, Imani Bailey doing all the work for the American side, and Milton needed to have a good week, and you kind of needed to have a good game, and he just didn't look good at all on this opener.
Don't think it's looked good all year. I've never understood the Joe Milton hype whatsoever. People are always singing his praises. I've never seen it, and I don't see it now because of poor decision making. It's a simple check down out of bounds, plenty of ample time to throw a ball away, take a huge sack, say going like rushing through his progressions, so he's just having to go with the first man he sees, like say throwing well short sticks, asking an undersized running back to try get back big chunks of yardage that you lose. It's just not fair. You're putting your guys in bad positions, and it might be like that. Say, just he was struggling. He was doing like more heavy lifting, like you say, but not getting any reward for it because, like I say, the drive ended quickly, and he was always playing from behind the chains. So the defense just gets easier and easier for them. Like I say, the more pressure they apply, the more success they're having. And some guys like Cedric Gray, he had a really good day. Ulafosio, guys like that have just really stood up. Yeah, Austin Booker, some of them did really well, but yeah, another drive just comes and goes and ends in a punt.
And it's Cole Bishop with the big star. I mean, like, this is a massive. Like, Ben Sinnott is a big tight end, and you're one-on-one with him, and he just pile drives him down. But I don't know why Cole Bishop doesn't get talked about more. He's a really damn good safety, and he seems to get not a lot of love from people.
Yeah, great safety, massive build, big strong frame, big school. that's known for its secondary, but no, not a lot of love. Like I say, I highlighted him. I thought he's going to be one to watch. I reckon he's going to be a potential rotational guy, a core special team at the next level. Could make some big plays, and yeah, he was really good, and he's comfortable with going against tight ends. He's 6'2". Like I say, he's got a big frame, strong safety, free safety. Benson, for me, is like I said, the second best tight end in the whole class. Behind Brock Bowers, and like I say, he came up and he had no problem squaring up to him in the open field and bringing him down.
No, yeah, it was really good and stopped the drive for dead because they couldn't convert from that 3rd and 1. The National, their third drive. So Sam Hartman comes in. How the Senior Bowl works at the end of every quarter, possessions change. So the National only actually have 16 seconds for this drive to end the first quarter. But Hartman, we know him. He loves. He's a not a. He's an instigator of the air raid. He loves to hit it downfield. So he tries to find Tez Walker on a deep go route first time up. But again, he drops another one-handed catch, and it's easier than the first one. So it's great coverage from Boston College cornerback Elijah Jones. He puts himself into a position when he's running with him, he can see the quarterback, he can see the ball, and he can see Walker as he's running all at once. So he's got it all in his field of vision, and he's staying ahead of him stride for stride, bearing in mind his head is turned round. When the ball is released, he gets his head round, he closes on Walker, he pressures him into the drop. But again, it does go down as another drop for Tay Walker there, and he should have had it. Hartman then goes deep to the opposite side on the right, next tried to find Javon Baker, the UCF wide receiver. It's a really beautifully thrown ball, in fairness, and would have got them in field goal range, but Auburn DB Nehemiah Pritchett makes a great recovery play to swat the ball just as he's about to make the catch. So he breaks up the pass there. And then Hartman goes deep a third time. This time he goes back to Walker, who is again battling with Elijah Jones once more. The coverage again is really good from Elijah Jones, but just at the end, he oversteps just slightly, which gives Walker a chance to make the catch, but overcomes Georgia safety Tyke Smith, who comes across in double coverage, and he just swats the ball away, and Walker has no chance of getting this one. He undercuts it, bats it away, and it's the end of the first quarter. And I mean, for a 16-second drive, right, a lot goes on. The American defense held up against the Hartman air raid, and some really good plays. Elijah Jones, Nehemiah Pritchett, did really well on this drive, because one of those three lands, they get a field goal and go up before the quarter is done.
I don't really like the whole change of possession, the quarter rule, because don't it really make it obvious for defense? You know that Sam Hartman's coming in with 16 seconds left. You just know he's going to bomb it, because they can't check it down. They can't run the ball because they know they're about to give it away. And I don't blame Sam Hartman for coming in and saying, screw it, might be the only couple of passes I throw all day. Just bombs it down the sideline and says, one of you go make a play. And yeah, on another day, 2 of those balls are caught. But on this day, none of them were. Like you say, one of them could have been caught, 2 of them good recoveries, defensive backs. And the team was backed into a corner where it had to move the ball quickly and deep. And yeah, Sam couldn't really have done a lot. He puts the ball where he thinks it needs to be to stay or be out of bounds if they can't get it, or to catch it and they get a field goal. So yeah, they come and go very quickly, but yeah, not for the want of trying. And yeah, great coverage by all of them. All of them were just pretty sticky there, and they knew what their job was. Like I said, the ball's either batted away, or you make sure it goes out of bounds and the receiver can't get it. Use the sideline as your friend, and they all understood the actual what was being asked of them. So yeah, quick change of play, but yeah, it feels unfair that you can only have a 16-second possession. I'm not overly fond of that rule.
Yeah, and then the Americans get the ball back, so they end you can sneakily end your possession at the end of the quarter with 10 seconds left, and then you get the ball back 10 seconds later. It kind of feels like you're stealing a possession from that one. But yeah, it was really good coverage to stand up to the air raid. And Elijah Jones especially really impressed me with his technique and how he was able to pick up, because Devontae Walker is not easy. to get coverage on. Like, he's very difficult, and he made it look quite easy there. So I loved his technique in regards to that. So starting the second, the Americans get the ball back for their fourth drive. Cody Schrader, he hits a tight gap up the middle for 7. It's terrific run defense from Ohio State safety Josh Proctor, to makes an open field tackle on him, or Schrader's gone at this point. He's the last guy. He comes up, big open field tackle, really good there from him. Joe Milton then finds Jamari Thrash, the Louisville wide receiver, for 7 on an out route. It's a really good high catch from Thrash. I mean, some may say Milton highballed it a little bit, but he goes up and gets it anyhow. But it's a really good open field tackle from Chow Smith Wade, the Washington State corner, to prevent any yak. He had a really good day overall. Milton then finds Jaheim Bell, the Florida State tight end, for 20. It's a lovely throw down the middle. Really safe hands from the tight end, because he's immediately hit by Josh Proctor, but he gets the ball into his body, holds on. Big play there for them. Schrader then runs for a tough 5 up the gut, stopped by Gabe Hall, the Baylor DT. Then Milton dumps the ball off over the middle to Tulane wide receiver Jaquan Jackson for 3. Another great tackle from Ulafoshio to keep him short of the line to gain. So it brings up third and 2. And they give the ball to Cody Schrader again. Really tough run for 2 yards and a first down. UNC linebacker Cedric Gray contacts him 2 yards behind the line to gain, but Schrader just keeps churning his legs, and he bulldozes him back over the line to be able to get the first down. It's just a really good play from him there. Tough yard situation. Only 2 yards, but 2 big yards to keep it going. But then Joe Milton ruins the work with a truly rotten play. So he scrambles out of the pocket to the right, and from the national 30, in the American, he commits the cardinal quarterback sin. He throws the ball across his body as he's rolling out to the right. He throws it all the way into the end zone and right into the breadbasket of Oregon DB Evan Williams, who picks it off. And the worst part is Milton actually has room to run and get the first down, but no, he chooses to make the hero play. And he could have been called for throwing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, because he threw the ball really late. It's a lack of awareness. It's, he believes that his arm's too strong that he can make that sort of play. No, he doesn't. Williams, in fairness, when they show the still of him throwing it, the receiver's on his own in the end zone. But you're throwing the ball back across your body. It stays in the air longer. Evan Williams sees him lining up to do it, and he covers an acre of ground to come across and snatch it. But crossbody throws are in the air longer. So even though your guy might be free, you're making that throw, you're running the risk of a pick, and Evan Williams gets the big play there, and Milton caps off a rotten start to this game, right? He looked like he was just finding a little bit of form, and then he commits the quarterback cardinal sin. You can't do that, especially when you've got a run on, when you can get simple yardage. Trying to be a big man and make the hero play, and it fell foul.
Yeah, you only do that as a last resort, where like you've literally got no room to run and the game is on the line. You take the risk, you use the arm strength, and yeah, you need an extra 5 to 7, 10 yards more room to get the ball to carry. We literally saw it in the playoffs, didn't we? A game in the NFL, a game ending across the body throw, and they're too easy to come underneath, because you say they're going horizontally more than they are vertically. So yeah, they do get caught, and yeah, just put your body on the line if you have to. Just put your head down and just run. Just run out of bounds. Just try get most of it to live on another day. Like, yeah, he tries to do too much. He tries to get everything in one go when he didn't need to, when there was a chance of just converting the first down or at least getting most of it, and just scrambled, scamper out of bounds. But yeah, he had a stinker of the day, a terrible day actually. It gets worse, but yeah, this was not a good start. Just like when you feel like they're kind of like getting on the same page with some guys like him and Bell, and then Schrader, who's just getting stuffed consistently. He's just doing a really hard work, and he converts that down all to nothing. Just ends up in like a touchback. Like, that's really frustrating for some guys, like I say, that are busting their ass, and you go give them the ball, straight back to them like that. So yeah, it was not a pretty day for quarterbacks not named Spencer Rattler.
No, exactly. And this love for Joe Milton, it's like the commentators are like, oh yeah, but when he throws it, there's no DB. It's like, stop it. Stop trying to justify his behavior. It's bad awareness. It's just terrible awareness. It's terrible decision making. Like, he's got the tools, but he has no idea how to use them properly
Like I say, if it's
for his
completed,
team.
they just throw a flag anyway. They were just waiting to see if it could be completed to
Yeah,
penalise him for being beyond the line of scrimmage.
he was literally beyond it. I was like, they probably would have otherwise. Again, that's just bad awareness. So, like, run the ball. You're that close. You're under no pressure to throw it because you can run the ball. Yeah, it was a completely whack decision, and it was just, ugh, don't make that play. That's just going to turn a lot of guys off you there. But anywho, big play from Evan Williams, the Oregon DB. So good for him. Like, it is a really impressive interception by him. He covers a lot of ground to undercut that pass. So cannot take that away from him. The Nationals' fourth drive comes up. So Isaiah Davis, his rush is blown up by Trevin Wallace, the Kentucky linebacker, for a 1 yard loss. Really good play from him. He's patient, shoots a gap to make the play. Good linebacker play there from him. Hartman then incomplete throw to Javon Baker. This is a really great play from Jackson Sermon, the Cal linebacker, again, called up at the last minute. He comes up from his linebacker spot anticipating a run, then has the far to realize actually this is going to be a pass. He resets himself, jumps up, tips the pass out the air. It's a really good piece of linebacker play there. He just jumps up like a salmon and swats that thing. And like he's been preparing for a run, resets really quick, gets it, love it. Hartman then scrambles out of the middle of the pocket, threatens a first down, but then finds himself one-on-one with Jackson Sermon. Once again, he tries to juke him, but Sermon's having none of it. He takes him down in the open field. It's really terrific technique from the tackle there. Back-to-back huge plays from the Cal linebacker, which forces a punt. Now, Taylor hits it from the end zone to the 50. It's returned to the 40 by Aeneas Smith, the Texas A&M wide receiver. So, short drive for the National there, right? But the last minute call up, Jackson Sermon, this is a guy who's caught my eye now. I think they said his dad is the DC at Cal, but he came in last minute, unprepared, and like made a couple of spectacular plays here. To be able to reset like that for a linebacker to defend the run and the pass, good one-on-one tackles against mobile quarterbacks. Man, that's gold dust in the league nowadays.
Maybe it's easier to not be there all week and literally just arrive the day before. Just kind of get thrown into a game situation. I suppose really the play call don't really matter to him. Just play off instinct. Just play what you see. And yeah, he comes down like he's going to come up to line of scrimmage, make a run, stops, slows down, squats, like you say, he gets low, and then like it kind of like coils like a spring, and then just says like if I can't get there and it's gonna be a passing play, just get in the passing lane, and he's able to deflect the ball, get a big play, and then even better like where open field in the running back where you can have your ankles broken, just does not buy the old like drop a shoulder feign and then try and go the other way, wraps up, holds on for dear life, whether he needs help or anyone else, and just brings him down. I think sometimes maybe it's an advantage to just turn up last minute, and then maybe you've not picked up any bad habits. You don't know, you don't think you know what everyone's going to do because you spent a couple of days with them. So yeah, that it really is a way to get yourself known. Is like just be a last minute replacement.
Yeah,
So
and of course
the week did go really well for him in the fact that he did turn up late because a lot of guys did struggle, but he wasn't one of them.
No, but unfortunately, he has the honor of being the only senior ball player to not be invited to the combine, which is such a shame given the performance he put in there. So the Americans get the ball back on the national 40, real good field position. Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt comes in. Imani Bailey still running the ball. He gets 1 yard. JD Bertrand with a really great play. He comes around the edge to hit him in the backfield and take him down for little gain. Really good run defense there from him. Pratt then overthrows Bailey. but he's got Braden Fiske in his face, who has wrecked the right guard. He's got to try and get it over Fiske, and he can't. So it's not really on Pratt there, but it's a really good play from Braden Fiske to bring the pressure. Then Pratt has an incomplete pass to Ryan Flournoy, one of the FCS receivers on show there. He's from Southeast Missouri. It's in front of him because he's coming on a crosser out across the field. It's in front of him. He catches it, but his arms are really exposed because he really has to reach to grab it. And the Georgia State linebacker, John Trey Hunter, hits his exposed arms and jaws the ball loose. There's not a lot the wide receiver can do about it because he's completely exposed diving for the catch. But it's a really good play from John Trey Hunter to knock that out. And then that brings in Will Reichard, the Alabama kicker, top point scorer of all time for the team, to attempt a field goal from 57 yards. His own personal record was 52. It has the legs, but he doinks it off the right upright, and the score stays 7-all. So, quarterbacks, new ones coming in now, disrupting the game of the flow of the game gets a little bit disrupted there. But again, good defensive plays. Braden Fiske, John Trey Hunter, and ends up with Rijkaard doinking it, but it's nearly 60 yards. Maybe can be forgiven for that one, right?
Yeah, at this point now, any quarterback that comes in, nothing's going to happen. Like I say, these games are impossible to be the second or third or fourth quarterback that comes in. There's just no rhythm. And that's why running backs do so well in the All-Star games, because they just get a massive workload. Because the quarterbacks have such little time to actually make a difference or get on the same wavelength that more often than not, you look at how many passes were completed in this game out of how many were attempted. It's bad. The percentage is minimal. And that's not, it's not the quarterback's fault. These games are made for defenders, I think, essentially, because they rotate plus a lot less, despite a lot of them in there. They're kind of they get on a wavelength pretty quick because they've got their own individual jobs to do. The offenses have got many moving parts. Braden Fiske, defensive MVP of the game, good week, just had an all-round great game, made plays in the backfield. I like John Trey Hunter. I like the Panthers linebacker. He's had a really good career. And yeah, pass is like one of those hospital passes where really, kind of like if you catch it, he gets crunched because he's having to reach out for it, and he really's got no way to protect himself or the ball. But yeah, good pass to Jarrett Lodge. And I actually like to say, I don't care that Reichard missed, because like I say, not many kickers in the NFL right now can even get to the post from 57, let alone doink it. Will Reichard don't have to worry about his draft stock at all. I reckon he's getting drafted in the 5th or the 6th. Like I say, the greatest pointer of all time. And yeah, he absolutely smashed it. Probably would have been good from 60 if it was actually accurate. But to put in cold as well and be asked to go from nearly 60, that's the only thing you do right at the end to try win a game. And he's asking, it's not even half yet. And already saying come in and just make a career kick. And yeah, it's just one of those things that, yeah, he's got the leg. He's proved he's got the leg. And everyone knows he's accurate.
Yeah. He hit it. It hits about halfway up the post. So yeah, that thing's got legs. That thing's still going from a few more yards there. So the National get the ball back in pretty good field position because of the missed field goal. Sam Hartman misses a wide open Theo Johnson in midfield. He drops it right at his feet. It's uncharacteristic for him there. Dylan Laub, the New Hampshire running back, then gets into the game. He gets a run for 4, a really good outside cut to avoid a lunging tackle from one of the D linemen while he's behind the line of scrimmage. Then he runs for some tough yards up the middle. He looked good. Hartman then rockets one down the middle for Javon Baker for 15. Really good throw, making up for that bad one before. Laub then gets another, but he gets a run up the gut for just 1. Bama edge Chris Braswell comes inside to make the stop on that one. Hartman then finds Michigan tight end A.J. Barner for 6, but he is immediately brought down by UTEP linebacker Tyrese Nye. Again, another beautiful tackle because A.J. Barner's huge compared to Tyrese Nye, but he brings him down open field and he does it emphatically he was on my list to watch for this, and I was impressed with him. Hartman then on a quarterback keeper for 8 that fools everybody on the fake handoff. Then they get down to the 2-minute warning. They have a 2-minute warning break for every quarter in this, which again, very weird. Hartman targets AJ Barnett in the end zone, but the pass is off his fingertips. He's put under pressure by Justin Egbo-Igbe, the Alabama edge, but maybe should have got him. A little bit of inaccurate passing for him on here. Luke McCaffrey then gets a rush on an end around for 5, but really good hustle from Nathaniel Watson, the misstate linebacker, to get across to make the tackle to stop it going for more. Hartman then targets Tay Walker again in the back of the end zone, but for the 3rd time, he can't hold on to the catch. Now, in fairness, he is going out the back of the end zone as he makes it, but it's there to be had. And again, fantastic press coverage from Nehemiah Pritchett, the Auburn DB once more. He boxes Walker out of making the play, basically forces him out the back of the end zone. He's trying too hard to stay in that he forgets to catch the ball. And then this leads to a 32-yard field goal attempt from Stanford kicker Joshua Carty. Now, bearing in mind, he's kicking from the left hash. He shanks it. He misses it to the right. And this is a game where no one actually rushes the kicker, so he's under no pressure. He hits it from the left hash and misses to the right. And again, no more points in a game that's becoming very disjointed with lots of issues there, Ryan. But like, kind of, we get good Hartman, bad Hartman, Nehemiah Pritchett again playing really well. Yeah, a lot going on this drive, but no points scored.
No, and you know, you've worked out by now, the game is, they've worked each other out, it's stagnated. This is how it's going to be for pretty much the rest of the game, to be honest. Yeah, Hartman, I don't know, he's weird. Like, the more I've seen of him over the years, like say this year, Hartman just thinks he's not destined to play in the NFL. I just feel like the player I used to love at Wake Forest is gone. Of his confidence or anything, he's missing wide open guys. He's putting too much on it, or in some cases, not enough on it at all. They're struggling to move the ball down the field. The play designs were getting a bit better because they realised they were struggling, like at the end around, like say Luke McCaffrey. He's kind of going to be that gadget type of thing to be a pro player. He's kind of going to have to do a little bit of everything to overcome, like say that he's good at a lot of stuff, but not great at anything. Tight ends, they're getting used pretty well in this game. Walker gets yet another chance. Maybe too worried about where he is on the field instead of actually just catching it. I'd rather see him catch the ball and step out of bounds than not catch it and trying to worry about where the feet are. But Pritchard's got him. And but on the other hand, I actually put Josh Carter in the mock draft we did a couple of months ago. Very good kick of Stanford, very successful. But like kickers' lives aren't really made that hard at Senior Bowl. Like say other hash, but you've got to make that. It's only 32 yards. That should be bread and butter, to be perfectly honest. Like, there's no excuse for coming away with no points there. Your team badly needs points because, like I said, nothing is clicking for them right now.
No, absolutely not. And because they almost intimated that not getting rushed put him off. And I could get that if you're a kicker who's getting rushed every single kick you make, and then you're running up to kick it and no one's coming. I can imagine it might sort of stunt you a little bit, but still. You've got to make that, of course. I saw Dylan Laub a little bit. Good to see him get some runs, but again, seems to be defense. And Nehemiah Pritchett is firmly on my radar now after this. Like, his coverage skills in this game were incredibly good. So, going to have a little look more than him. Right, we'll get it through to the end of the half now. It's about 1:57 here, but there's 3 drives before the end of the half, believe it or not. So, the Americans' 6th drive, Michael Pratt should be picked. He fires a pass in way too hot for Cody Schrader. He tips it up. JD Bertrand gets a hand on it, but he tips it into Evan Williams' face mask and it drops to the floor. It's like one of them, Rocky Horror shows just used playing the circus music. The ball's just getting battered everywhere and goes down to the floor. However, The second play of the drive, he then does give it away. He fumbles a snap under center, which is a big problem for these guys because a lot of these quarterbacks don't play under center in college and they're asked to in the All-Star games, and problems like this happen. But yeah, he fumbles the snap under center. It's recovered by Michigan D lineman Jalen Harrell. And yes, for anyone who is going to go and try and pick up on who the center was, it was Christian Haynes. But it was not Christian Haynes' fault. Michael Pratt was the one to blame for that. So the National get it back for their 6th drive. And then Sam Hartman gives it right back. And it is a god-awful throw from Sam Hartman. He's trying to find Tez Walker, but he's been bottled up by Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who's the Louisville cornerback on the 10-yard line. Brownlee is literally stood in between Walker and Hartman. And Sam just throws it right at him. It's the easiest pick Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is ever going to have in his life. He returns it 32 yards upfield, gives the ball back to the Americans for their 7th drive with 33 seconds left. Michael Pratt has 2 checkdowns to Cody Schrader for 8 and 15. Both tackles made by Cedric Gray, but they run out of time and the half ends. So a half that started with a lot of promise, Rye, then started with a lot of turnovers. The under center thing, we'll see that again in this game because it is a very difficult thing for these quarterbacks who've never done it before. But Hartman's throw was just, it was worse than Milton's. Brownlee is in front of Walker, and it's almost like he thinks his arm's that powerful, he can just whiz it past him and Walker will catch it.
Yeah. At this point, like I say, I just consider oh, oh God, this has got ugly. I don't understand colleges that don't make quarterbacks snap from under center. They just put them in the pistol or the shotgun. Just seems lazy. You're not preparing them from the pros where they will literally have to sit, call out a cadence, call a motion, and have to get the ball from under the center. That's pretty common practice. Now, as a pro, you can't just stand 10 yards back and have it just dumped in your belly like a baby. So, yeah, bad exchange. Pratt, yeah, makes a mess of it. And then, yeah, he's reprieved by an even worse player. Sam Hartman feels the need to... Yeah, he feels like... I don't know why he feels like he's got a bossy issue. Like you say, Tez Walker has had a bad day. And, yeah, like, he's not even in a play position to make a play. Sam just tries to go through him. Not round him or over him, just says, I'll try go through you. And yeah, just return the other way. And then Pratt just, it's either half out and just to get a chance to like catch a break, just check downs. No real intent to even get in field goal range despite a decent return.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, he had all the time to go make a play there, and he just goes, it was just, yeah, it was a rough end to the half for the quarterbacks, let's say. And so 7-7 at a half. The National get the ball to start the second half. It's their 7th drive. Kamani Vidal, he starts off. He has a run stuffed for a 1-yard loss by Nathaniel Watson. Again, the Miss State linebacker making plays, and Tyke Smith helps him out on that, the Georgia safety. Hartman then escapes a collapsing pocket. He dumps it off to A.J. Barner, the Michigan tight end, who gets 11 for the first down. He's stopped by Jackson Sermon again and Eric Watts. Dylan Laub then gets a run for 2. He finds a gap down the right, but so does Nathaniel Watson once again, who makes another tackle. Then on the next play, there's nothing on for Hartman, so he scampers out to the left for a run for 7 to get them down to 3rd and 1. Then he scampers out to the right for a 6-yard run and a first down. And they're near the end zone at this point. But then Hartman has to spike the ball because he has open defensive tackle Marcus Harris hanging off his leg. There's a missed assignment on the O-line, and Harris shoots the gap so quickly and gets to Hartman so quick that Dylan Laub, who's in the eye in the backfield, has not even gotten to his pass protection stance because he's not had a chance to get there. And he's running towards the quarterback whilst he's running away from Harris. He just makes a great play. Hartman has to spike it. So, yeah, that just doesn't end well. Rice wide receiver Luke McCaffrey, then with a stunning, and I mean a stunning, one-handed grab to catch a ball that is way out in front of him from Sam Hartman. He's running a dig, comes inside, it's well in front of him, just gets his paw out, snags it, gets it right into his body to protect it. He forces a missed tackle before he's brought down by Miami linebacker James Williams, who brings him down, but not before he's gotten 13 yards on the play. Hartman then runs out to the right, misses a simple throw to A.J. Barner. Again, in and out day for him. Hartman then finds Vidal down the middle for 5, but James Williams grabs his face mask trying to make a tackle, and it's a 15-yard penalty added to the 5 that Vidal gets for the pass. Williams then does make amends, though. He finds himself one-on-one on the next play with Hartman, who's trying to escape a collapsing pocket. He takes him down in the open field for a 2-yard loss. It's a really great tackle there from him. Sam Hartman then gets really, really lucky. So he drops back to pass it. He gets harassed by Houston Christian linebacker Jalix Hunt. He's one of the lowest ranked players who's here in terms of the level his football has come from. So Hartman manages to shake him off. He avoids a second tackle, but then Hunt comes right back at him, grabs him, and takes him down for what should be a 12-yard sack. But Hartman tries to throw the ball away. But when he does, it looks very suspiciously like a fumble because he kind of throws it out to the side. Remember that thing Jared Goff did that everyone got really angry about? It was something similar to that. And the defense actually recovers it, but it gets called incomplete, which saves his skin. But it's a really good play from Jalix Hunt, who will have enjoyed that one. Gets to 3rd and 12. Hartman tries to find Theo Johnson in the end zone, but it's really good coverage from Georgia DB Tyke Smith. Whilst he's getting interfered with by the tight end, he still makes the play. Joshua Carty comes in, hits the field goal from 37 yards. It's 10-7 to the National, and this was an 8.5-minute drive. This was a long one, Ryan, but we got to see little flashes here. Luke McCaffrey, we got to see him make a really good throw in there. We got to see Jalix Hunt on defense. We got to see Marcus Harris as well make some big plays. It was tough sledding, just 3 points on the board, and Hartman making very questionable choices in this.
Yeah, Hartman. One, you never want him running the ball. No one has ever thought Sam Hartman, great escape in the pocket, great guy on the run, great design run. No, I just don't think he's very athletic. 2, yeah, incredibly lucky not to have coughed the ball up. Like you say, Jalix Hunt, who I really like right now, is, like I said, designated player, like a pass rusher. Like I say, but he does his job well. He gets all in his face. He's wrapping him up, bringing him down. He forces Hartman to make a bad decision. Like I say, it could have even been a fumble. Like I say, it would have been risk grounding, anything. Like I say, and they do get a recovery, but it's called back, so he would have come up close to causing a big play there. Luke McCaffrey, I think I've fallen in love with him. I think I just love the kid. I think he just does as he's asked. And that's pretty much everything. And I feel like he will make plays. I don't think he'll make lots of plays, but I feel like he'll make a couple of big plays a season if you give him some opportunities. Like I say, he's kind of got everything you want in good amounts, and there's a lot to learn from. So, yeah, I think he's certainly someone that is a long-term project, but I think he's someone that will suit a lot of teams that like to play trick plays and do things like that. Kind of like you have him on the field, so that he's fun. Yeah, Carter redeems himself as well, but yeah, it was one of those drives where it kind of keeps going back and forth. Like I say, check down with a big face mask, which will have annoyed him. Like you say, he didn't need to do it to bring him down. Just finds the hole over 5 yards. But yeah, there was some good, some bad, some ugly. But yeah, at this point, they take the lead. Like you say, Carty, reasonable kick, fine, redeems himself on the day. Yeah, it feels like the team is currently the lead in spite of Sam, not because of him.
Yeah, exactly. And, as you go through the game, you hear names mentioned more and more. And this American defense, I don't gives up 3, but you keep hearing names of the linebackers. So Nathaniel Watson is one, Jackson Serban is the other. Then James Williams comes in, makes plays. But like Nathaniel Watson, what a hell of a game for him. Tackles for loss, making big plays all the time, 1v1s. Again, a name you don't hear around the block very often, but making a big name for himself in a game of this, what it can do for you.
Yeah, and this might have been the game that got him the invite to the combine. Like I say, I'm pretty sure he's there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
People
but
now will
certain.
actually like, instead of just like looking at the list and glancing over it now, some people will have circled him and said, let's see what he can do athletically. Let's see how well he tests, because we've seen him in the game time scenarios, and he could be a potential sleeper. So yeah, he's someone that did himself the world of good and now can build on that. But that's it. But all day, both teams, I'd probably say in general, in the game, linebacker, probably I think the best unit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He saw a lot of the
There's a
best
lot of
plays
check
there.
downs, a lot of short run plays. The linebackers were asked to do a lot more than a
Yeah.
lot of other positions were.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that. A lot of the linebackers came out of this really good. So yeah, that was an 8.5 minute drive as well to start the half. So it took over half the quarter away. So the Americans get the eighth. Carter Bradley comes in at quarterback, the South Alabama quarterback, son of Gus Bradley, as you will keep hearing about him every time he is mentioned. It'll be the first thing said about him. And he's nearly picked on the very first play. So he overthrows Texas A&M wide receiver Aeneas Smith, who is on the left by the numbers. DB gets hands on it, but can't hold on. Couldn't quite work out who it was, but good play nonetheless. Then Imani Bailey, once again, been chugging all game, bless him, for 14. A really good run, like proper up the gut, running back run here. The footwork from him to just navigate through it all and find all the little gaps is perfect. And again, another good low tackle from Josh Proctor, who was the last man, so potentially saves a touchdown. Josh Proctor had some big plays. He had 2 or 3 of these potential touchdown saving tackles in this game. Bailey then gets another tough run for 5. He's stopped by Notre Dame linebacker Marist Liufau. Bailey then gets another run, but this time is stopped for no gain. Javon Solomon, the Troy edge, with a really hard-hitting stop whilst he is protecting the edge against the run, and it's finished off by Adissa Isaac, the Penn State edge rusher, but really good play from them there. Carter Bradley then finds Imani Bailey once again out of the backfield for 6. A really good one-on-one tackle by Chow Smith Wade, this Washington State cornerback, to stop him from getting any yak. They then give Bailey another run for 1 yard, but he only gets 1 because Cedric Gray comes up with haste to greet and bring him down. Carter Bradley then incomplete to Cody Schrader. He tries a check down, but he throws it right at his feet. Bradley then tries to find Ben Sinnott downfield, but he can't get it up and over Cedric Gray, who bats it away. So again, this was sort of a 6-minute drive to back up this. This quarter went really quick, but again, Amani Bailey, like for stock guys, considering he came in really small, I think what did they measure him at 5'7", 5'8"? He showed that it doesn't matter because he's got the intelligence, he's got the legs, he's got the strength, and you shouldn't worry about his size, Ryan.
Well, his predecessors drafted last year, Kendre Miller and D. Mercado. They were drafted. They weren't much. They're not big either. He's just another product of TCU right now. He's actually just running off running backs. They're sending some really good talent to the NFL, either in small or part-time roles. And yeah, Bailey is undersized. That will just instantly put some teams off him. Some teams will love that. Some teams will look at that guy and think he can find those nooks, those crannies, those crevices. He can follow his block and he can churn out that tough yardage. And we saw that on some players, like you say, the smallest of holes that the O-line was able to force through, squeeze through. And then when, like you say, he's got a little bit of free room, turn on the next gear. And yeah, some last gasp challenges to stop him from breaking away and run. But yeah, for me, he was by far the best player on the ground for the whole day, and someone that, yeah, he's got a route to the NFL because guys like Juice Vaughn and Devon Atchin have already proved that they're there for him. The smaller scat backs, as they call them, Like, yeah, a lot of teams will have them. They'll stash them, and they will bring them on, and they will make players at the next level. And Bailey should probably be one of those guys that will have his name called.
And they were targeting him a lot in the air as well. So like they were making sure he could run his routes as a receiver. And in fairness, he does the whole running back sneak out the backfield really well. But you know, we talked about linebacker play there. Two of the last three plays there, Cedric Gray. You mentioned like in the UNC linebacker, another linebacker who impacted this game in many ways, not just his linebacker play. He's got other bits coming up later on, but just open field tackle against Amani Bailey again. That's not easy. And then you come up, make the play to end the drive here, put pressure on. Like another whose stock has just gone whoop because of this week.
Yeah. Two pass breakups on the day, getting in passing lanes, guys trying to like go over him and just showing really good athleticism. Like you're not going to come up and get in the passing lane, but when you're coming up and then you're dropping back into coverage, like to cross a running back or a tight end, did really well a lot of the week. I think he's one of the more. I don't think he's a specialist either in run support or coverage, but he's willing to play both and can do both to a good standard of a level. I think Cedric Gray was one of the better defenders on the day. Like I say, good handful of tackles, especially against Bailey, and also commanded the middle of the field pretty well. Made his presence felt in other ways where needed to be. So yeah, someone that they cover that in the NFL. Linebackers, you're gonna have to be asked to drop into coverage, even if you're a run stuffer. Right? If you'll only be on the field 1 or 2 downs. If you can't do both, you'll severely limit your role.
Exactly. I was really impressed with him. Like I say, getting up on the tight end there, stopping the play's been made. Got to enjoy what Cedric Gray was doing there. So the National get the ball back for their 8th drive, and there's less than 2 minutes in the third quarter. There's only been a drive each in this one. That's how long and sustained they've been, just without the points to back them on the end. So there's 1:53 left, and the National are backed up on their own 15. So Hartman starts off, he swings a pass out to Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State running back. He gets 4. Cam Kinchens knocks him out of bounds. Hartman then fumbles a snap under center because it's an issue, but he lands on it. It's a loss of 3, which just sends it back to 3rd and 9. This time it was Kingsley Abuakan at center, and kind of both on them in this case. So, but yeah, another fumbled snap under center, but then a big 20-yard run from Isaiah Davis, who the small FCS running back gets to shine. So put it this way, they trust him to run the ball on 3rd and 9, and it's a really good play from BYU right tackle Kingsley Suamataya. He bores out a massive hole on the right-hand side of the offensive line. Sorry, big gap appears. Davis hits it, gets some good yardage, and it takes 4 guys to get him down. He just keeps on running and running. Like Ryan says, he's a bigger running back. Took 4 guys, and all the while he's got guys jumping all over him, he keeps on running forward. But big 20-yard play to keep the drive alive there. But then Cam Kinchens breaks up a pass attempt to Theo Johnson from Sam Hartman. Hartman then tries to find AJ Barner deep down the middle, but again, we're talking names all the time. Misstate linebacker Nathaniel Watson, he gets up high in the air to bat the pass out of the air. Him and Cedric Gray having amazing days at this point. Hartman then throws away, which should bring up a 4th down, but UConn defensive lineman Eric Watts, it is Eric Watts, sorry, he roughs the passer, 15-yard penalty. Hartman then finds Luke McCaffrey down the middle for 15, gets them into field goal range, and because of the whole 2-minute situation at the end of halves, they're going to change possession. They have to go for it. So they bring on Carty. It's a 52-yard kick into the wind, and he makes it with room to spare. 13-7 to the National at this point. And just again, a really weird drive, but we get to see Isaiah Davis prove what a good running back he is, right? Nathaniel Watson making plays to keep this to a field goal. And then Carty, who misses a basic chip shot from 32, then hits from 52 into the wind and makes it look easy. The life of a kicker, eh?
Yeah. I don't know. I've got a weird feeling that we're looking at one of the best classes of rookie kicker for some time. Torrey Taylor, and then you've got Rijkaard, Carty, and Harrison Meavis. We could see a record number of kickers or specialists drafted this year. It's been few and far between recent years, but yeah, weird drive. Like I say, Hartman is doing everything to lose this game and give the ball away at this point. Like I say, his passes are underthrown, fumbles a snap, he's bailed out by a roughing. But yeah, the running backs just said, we'll just do it on our own. The quarterback's going to struggle. We'll just do it on our own. Massive, big chunk play from Isaiah Davis. Like I said, I love Kingsley. I think he's someone that I want Lions to look at on day 2 as a future tackle or swing tackle. Like I say, he just forces the hole on his own and he hits it. Davis just takes guys with him. He just knows to keep the legs chugging. And when you do finally fall forward, just take them with you. And that's probably his biggest traits. He's just his physicality. He's just hard to bring down. I say Watson with a great play to back all the way up and recognise the target and a shot down the middle, gets underneath it, make sure the pass is incomplete. And yeah, Carter, best kick of the day from anyone, best attempt, 52, probably could have done 54, 55. Like I say, there's a bit of a swirling wind in the stadium, makes it look fairly easy. And another putt doomed that drive that at one point looked doomed ends in points.
But saved by Luke McCaffrey again. Like the big play they need to get into range in time. He just, like you said, he has a knack of making plays. Yeah, that's it. Just when you need, who you're going to call? Luke McCaffrey. That is what you do there. But so that is the end of the third quarter, 13-7 to the National. And then things really start to bog down. So we get 4 3-and-outs in a row. So the American ninth, Carter Bradley, he lets fly down the field to Rosemy Jack Saint, but Chow Smith Wade, his coverage is far too good for the Georgia wide receiver. He just locked down all day. Cody Schrader gets a run for 2, but Edithwan Olafosio gets him down really quickly. And then Bradley tries to find Lad McConkey, but he sails the pass over him when he's open. Then they got a punt. And then we'll do the National ninth and do them together. So Isaiah Davis gets a run for 1. He's tackled by Kentucky D lineman Andrew Phillips. Davis, another run for 1 again. Jackson Sermon gets him early and brings him down. And then Hartman tries to find Kamani Vidal out wide, but Tyke Smith lands a big hit on him to break up the pass, and they've got a punt. 2 quick drives, right? But again, we're seeing the same defensive name, Smith Wade on Rosemy Jackson, really good. Olafosio, great against the run. We know he's really good about that there. And then on the other side, Jackson Sermon making plays again. Tyke Smith grew into this game really well. The hard-hitting safety coming up, breaking up passes. It's not good offensively, but there's a lot of these defensive guys who are really making a case for themselves.
Yeah, at this point, they've probably seen everything the offenses have got to throw them. The defenders are just really comfortable. They are literally just making decisions before the ball is snapped about what they're going to do, what they think the play will be, who do you think it's going to, because they know right by now who these quarterbacks, because they're changing so often, they've got their favourite targets. You could deduce pretty easily who the play design might be going to. And yeah, they're making great plays, but they're mixing up. They're going after guys like McConkey, guys like that. They're bringing people in now to try keep the defense on their toes, but no, it's not working. Like I say, some guys like I say are just really doing well. Like I say, Smith Wade, unbelievable game, and it's only going to get better. But yeah, guys like Tyke Smith that are just really interesting. I just find like I don't know if someone is he a nickel, is he a safety, is he a corner, is he just a general defensive back? He's one of those guys that a lot of people have a lot of different plans to how they're going to use him. But a great tackling coverage. He's one of the more well-rounded guys in this defensive back class. I feel he's probably more comfortable playing multiple positions. Like, is he Brian Branch-esque? I'd probably say he is. I'd say he's just as comfortable tackling as he is with the ball in the air. And I think someone will get a really good value player because I can see him sliding quite far, but I can see him winning a a backup role or like a positional role fairly quickly in some defenses.
People forget, like, there was a time his transfer
He was
from
at
West
West
Virginia.
Virginia. He
Yeah,
was a star. Like the Georgia transfer for me, I don't think it went well. Like, I
no.
think it was a mistake in the end, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was like one of the biggest transfers of that offseason at the time. Everyone was, but like this guy has legitimate pedigree. And just because he's almost been lost in a sea of stars and he had the injury year one, which didn't help him, but like he's flown so far under the radar and he's not played bad. Like, I really like him and I can't understand why he's like a day three pick in the draft. I'm with you. I think someone's going to get an absolute steal with him. Like, all the stuff he was doing in this game really superb, and like he needs to be talked about way more than he is currently. But yeah, back to back three and outs there, and then there were two more. So the American 10th, Joe Milton comes back into play. Probably not good for him. So Milton to Ben Sinnott for one to start things off. Cole Bishop comes up and he makes a big hit on the tight end to stop the play there. Then they run a reverse run play to Ryan Flournoy, the Southeast Missouri State wide receiver. He gets 5. Would have been a lot more, but a really great low tackle from Kalen King, Penn State cornerback. But good play design, and Flournoy should have got a lot more for that. Then Cody Schrader has a run for no gain. Cedric Gray wraps him up. Javon Solomon finishes him off. And Fiske, Braden Fisk's again in this place. He forces Schrader right into them. Like, he's dominant off the line of scrimmage, forces them in to a congested passing lane, and Gray and Solomon can get at him there. And then Austin McNamara, the punter from Texas Tech, hits it just 25 yards. He had a really bad week. Like, talking about great special teamers, it was not for him. But, you know, Guy and Rye, Milton comes back in, but we're hearing the same names again. Cole Bishop, again, making the plays on the tight end. This is going to be invaluable to him as a safety. The guys love safeties who can come up and deal with these pain in the ass tight end receivers who are huge and can make these sort of plays. And then Cedric Gray, Javon Solomon having an underrated day, the Troy edge rusher. We talked about him. Like, he deserves to be a good draft prospect. He showed good amongst others, but just same names.
Yeah, Javon Solomon, I was impressed by his edge saying, not pass rush, but like I said, the ability to make a running back or receiver bounce back inside, kept everything in, sealed his edge, and just kind of like nullified plays, made them like have to second think. And then guys, like I say, that we've not heard all day, because Kalen King, like you say, for me, I've seen a lot of people, they've totally gone off him. What seemed like a lock first round pick last year, this guy seems to like people have just gone off it. Like his name has just stopped me in the mouth. But it showed great discipline. One play on reverse, he's throwing all one way, keeps his discipline, doesn't get fooled too easily, and just flow with everyone across the field. Sees it coming back the other way. Great low tackle to bring down Ryan. That could have been a really big play. That he stopped.
He's huge. He's a huge receiver, Flournoy is. He's like 6'5" or something.
Yeah, Kellen King is only like 5'11". Like I say, he's fairly small, but yeah, he's still a physical guy. So yeah, right now defenses are just smothering the life out of these offenses, and they're having to bring out more tricks out of the bag, but not just not working.
No, absolutely not. And then we're going to the fourth three and out in a row, the Nationals' 10th drive. Sam Hartman targets Tez Walker again, quite deep down the field. And in fairness, he's beaten Fresno cornerback Carlton Johnson all ends up, but the throw is short. So Tez Walker has to hit the brakes a bit. And in fairness to Carlton Johnson, he makes a terrific recovery play to come back in and knock it out of Walker's hands before he's about to make the catch to break up the pass. But again, Hartman should have put it out in front of him and it could have been a touchdown. Dylan Laub comes in. He hits a crease up the middle for 4. And it's a really great tackle from Nathaniel Watts, because Laub's hit a crease and there's nobody in front of him. And, you know, Watts comes in from behind him and brings him down. He misses that tackle. That is a massive play because there's like one cover safety who can stop him after that. Hartman and Tez Walker then have a big miscommunication, and Hartman throws a pass harmlessly out of bounds and a punt after 4 yards. But I know I kind of keep have to come back to this, right? Nathaniel Watts Big play to potentially save a touchdown there, and Hartman just stinking up the joint at this point.
Yeah, Hartman probably making the receivers look worse than they played, if anything. Like I say, Tez Walker, bad week. It's a bad game, but also some things out there, they were just out of his control. Like some of the balls he tried to get were bad, and he tried his best to recover and make plays. But yeah, Hartman putting balls out there, DBs are just able to recover and make them. And yeah, I think on the day I put, yeah, Hartman only went 7 of 25. What's that, like 31%? I guess that's
Not even that.
rotten.
It's less than a third. It's
It's
less than
like
a third.
28% completion percentage. Absolutely rotten day for him. And he could not afford this. I say Sam Hartman is on his way to going undrafted. And he, for
Mm,
a couple of years, he has been a darling, a
yeah,
sweetheart of college
yeah.
football. But yeah, he is going to get a shock, I think, at the next level. Like I say, this is it's a shame. But yeah, guys like Nathaniel again, they've made tackles in front, they've squared up and just sized up and brought them down. Now showing pursuit angles, tackling from the side and behind, just everything on the day. Just did not put a foot wrong, and any chance of a decent chunk player sniffed out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting down towards the end of the game here. Get to the Americans' 11th drive. There were a lot of drives in this game. Joe Milton is still in, so he starts up with a missed pass to Rosemy. Jack Saint just slightly overthrows him there. He's then sacked for a 6-yard loss, and he's lucky. He's so lucky not to give up a safety here. They called him with forward progress, but again, Braden Fiske. He absolutely levels Andrew Rame. I think it is the Oklahoma guard. It was an Oklahoma helmet, and the other guy's a tackle, and this was the safety. But yeah, Andrew Rame gets destroyed, and Braden Fiske brings down Milton for nearly a safety. Brings up 3rd and 16. And in fairness to Milton, he escapes a collapsing pocket. He finds Benson at the Kansas State tight end, who starts running. He gives the stiff arm of hell to JD Bertrand, just stiff arms him right out the way. He fights for the first down. It's a really good play from Sinnott, in fairness there. Milton then gets going a little bit. Another short pass to Lad McConkey, who fights for hard yardage. He gets 15, and again, stopped by Josh Proctor. Not a name that got a lot of love, but he was the last level of defense on a lot of these. But he gets the first down there. Milton then starts rushing the ball 7 yards to the American 41. He's brought down by Evan Williams. Another short pass to Amani Bailey, who gets some yak. He gets 8 yards. Brought down by Kalen King and JD Bertrand. And then he gets picked. So he completely overthrows his receiver. Like the receiver's not even in the frame when this ball comes down. But in fairness to Chow Smith Wade, he Superman dives to pluck this thing out the air. He doesn't need to, but it's one of the greatest diving interceptions you'll ever see. And because it's not college ball, you can go down and you can get up and return it. He returns it 83 yards to the 1 yard line of the American team. I mean, oh, this just kind of shows Joe Milton in a flash again. Sort of, he's going with the low stuff. There's a lot of yak coming up here, but it's just an absolutely atrocious. I don't know what he's doing, but Chow Smith Wade, like that is an impressive interception. He is full Superman diving to get this thing, gets it, returns it 83 yards because I think all the college players have forgotten that he can return it after dropping to his feet. And you just see this desperate last ditch tackle to stop him going in, which is really good in fairness. But great play by Smith Wade. Just, oh my God, terrible stuff by Joe Milton.
Yeah, bad throw. I don't think the receiver knows where he's supposed to be. I also just feel like it's a total breakdown in communication. It's on both of them. Yeah, a fantastic play. I think once he goes down and gets it, I'm pretty sure he's content to just get the offense on the field. Like he realizes no one's going to block for him. I don't think he's at that late in the game. I don't think he had any interest in returning it, to be honest. He looked tired, but yeah, he does. He picks up a few blocks, and he should have scored. Like it's just a miracle that he didn't. Like say a last ditch tackle to take him out the one. He deserved to score because he goes down, yeah, and he just no one around him, just a loose ball, and he breaks on it, makes a great play, scoops it up, and yeah, at that point we knew that that was all she wrote on the game essentially. But yeah, great effort, especially when like energy levels now are low, and I kind of waited for the game to just be done. But yeah, no, he could have just taken a knee, could have just run out of bounds. Some other people would have done, but no, decided to just try find a lane and manages to scramble through, and just good improvisation in the end to get 83 out of that, because he didn't get much help, did he?
No, no, it did not at all. But again, there's just some good plays in there. Ben Sinnott sort of had an up and down day, but a good one there from him. But again, Braden Fiske, like, probably should have had a safety. I thought it was a very unfair call to give Milton forward progress, but like Andrew Rain was just like, it's like you go home after a play like that. You've been embarrassed so much. Fiske is just a monster.
Yeah, Fisk just capped off a stellar week on a brilliant game. Like you say, he was just a menace for the offensive line in the backfield. And even when he wasn't getting to the quarterback, he was making himself big. He was making himself frustrating, getting in passing lanes, and just kind of disrupting a lot of the stuff that they wanted to do. He made his impact pretty much any way he could. And I like him. I actually think a lot of people are going to really like his skill set as a defensive tackle that offers some. It's limited right now, but some pass rush technique. But he could be a fairly every down lineman one day.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's got all the potential in the world. You can sort of move him around in there as well. So who knows? So after all this, the National get the ball on the Americans' 1 yard line. And you're thinking maybe we're gonna get a touchdown here. No, you're not. Sam Hartman, incomplete pass to Devontae Walker for what in fairness, he is pressured by Miles Cole, the Texas Tech D lineman, but still misses in there. Then they give the ball to Kamani Vidal to rush up the middle, but he's stuffed at the line by Trevon Wallace and Eric Watts. They take a timeout. Isaiah Davis then gets an opportunity. He runs up the middle. He gets stuffed. Miss State D lineman Jackson Crumedy and Miss State linebacker Nathaniel Watson. Have you heard his name today yet so far? I didn't think so. So 3 attempts from the 1. They don't get it. Carty comes on the field and he hits one from 19 yards, which I'm pretty sure is the shortest field goal he will ever attempt in his life. But while we can kind of laugh about this, right? It's like really good defense from the 1 yard line. You stand up for 3 there. And different names, but Trevon Wallace has been mentioned a lot. Nathaniel Watson mentioned a lot. Like, this is big to make stops like that and to make plays on it just consistently again and again and again. Like, just great day's work from some of these guys on defense.
Oh yeah, this late in the game, no one would have blamed you if you just let him go through and score. Like the game is relatively over, but no, every effort to plug up that middle and make sure, even with the big back, the small back, they do not get through. But honestly, I've never seen a set of players sum up a game more. No imagination whatsoever on the offense. Tez Walker at this point, the fact he's still out there after playing nearly all the quarters, only because they had so few receivers, I imagine. Like I say, a lot of guys, his day would have been over long before if they had the bodies, because like I say, it has been a struggle and it was just capped off by it. And settling for a field goal here, it just showed how, in general, the offense had just such a bad day. You get that massive play and you don't convert from it this late in the day, just frustrating.
Carty'll like it though, because like just kick after kick after kick to forget about that 32-yarder.
Consistency.
Yeah. I mean, if he'd have missed from 19, then it'd probably be harder to miss from 19 than it would be to actually get it. Like you would have to actively try. You would actively have to try and miss the thing, I reckon, to miss from there. But anyhow, he got it. 16-7 to the national team. There's 1:15 left for the American team to try and get something out of this. Michael Pratt comes in, so 2 incomplete passes to Cody Schrader. Second one broken up by, let's see if we can guess. There are a few names in here. UNC linebacker Cedric Gray. You would have had 1 or 2 or 3 opportunities in this one, but then he does complete a pass to Ryan Flournoy for 13 yards. Big-bodied receiver, able to get the first down, comes up big when he needs to. It's short to the left. He fights for some good yak on this one, and the tackle made by, say it with me, UNC linebacker Cedric Gray, and also Edafwan Ulafosio, who've gone a little quiet, but he gets another tackle in the day there. Pratt then has a rush for 7 yards to the American 45, gets himself out of bounds, finds Cody Schrader for 9 yards. Again, another sort of one out the backfield, which he's able to fight for some extra yardage on. Evan Williams and Kalen King bring him down there. And then Michael Pratt goes for the big one to Lad McConkey. And what does he do? He throws a pick. And who gets it? Chow Smith Wade, the Washington State cornerback, to just put a nice little bow on an almost perfect performance, apart from getting his ankles broke by Cody Schrader early on in the game. Like, in coverage, the guy didn't do a single thing wrong all day. And it's kind of fitting, Ryan, that Smith Wade, one of the defensive MVPs of the week here, seals this thing off with a kiss.
Yep. He just put an exclamation point on a performance that not just him, the whole defense, the whole secondary, they just had the entire offense all day in a headlock. And it just really summed up. And I don't actually blame Pratt. Honestly, it's the last drive. You might as well just go for it and pray something happens to get a bit of luck. So he takes a shot, don't come off. And yeah, that really summed up, like I said, defense. Both defenses all day, apart from like check downs where running backs were in open field, they just gobbled up everything that came their way. They just dominated. And it just showed that it didn't matter which the quarterback was, they were all useless, essentially, for most of the day. Like not one of them was able to get on a wavelength with most people for a lot of time. And that's worrying.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think, did Penix make the right call not playing in this? Because like
I
by default
made him look really bad.
He by default not playing in this game has probably saved himself a little bit there. But yeah, this wasn't even a purist's game for some part. I love good defensive stuff, and again, like linebacker, I love good linebacker play, and there are loads more on my radar now because of this. But tough sledding. The Nationals win it 16-7, and they were 7-0 down. Like the Americans scored on their first drive, so they didn't get anything after the first drive of the game, and they had another 10 drives. But yeah, tough. Shrine Bowl was a far easier watch than this, but let's go through the final stats just to have a quick check in here. So as we mentioned, with the quarterbacks on the national side, Sam Hartman was 7 of 25. He threw an interception for 69 yards. Bo Nix went 4 of 5 for 21 yards and a touchdown. On the American side, they used 4 quarterbacks. Joe Milton went 9 of 13 for 80 yards and 2 interceptions. Michael Pratt went 4 of 10 for 45 yards and an interception. Carter Bradley went 1 of 6 for 6 yards. And then Spencer Rattler went 4 of 4 for 65 yards and a touchdown. Gee whiz, Ryan, which one of the quarterbacks in this game did his stock the world of good?
The one that would probably already run a bath after the first quarter. Probably had already left. Say, yeah, Rattler. I think he had the advantage of, like, in these games, you kind of want to be the first person out there. The defense is not comfortable. They don't know what you're going to throw at them. They don't know really what to expect. You can kind of catch them cold. And Rattler did that. Yeah, Rattler had a good week. And yeah, he had a game that it was short but sweet. He made no errors. I think that was probably bigger than what he actually did, is what he didn't do. And he's a very polarizing, complex player to
It
work out
is
what can
now.
happen with him.
It is, isn't it? It's like the mystery of Spencer Rattler. Like
He was once
you
thought to be
don't
a first rounder.
a first
What the hell is he doing
overall.
now?
Like he was once thought to be first overall. It's like that sort of talent doesn't just disappear. Like it, I don't know. Like you can't go from being a first overall pick candidate to being like so low and just lose everything you've had because he's not actually been that bad at South Carolina. Like he's had a terrible O line, which has got him sacked a lot, and he's made some guys look really good. I feel like someone's going to chance on him a lot higher than we anticipate. I don't know. I get that vibe. I could see him going high day two. I think someone might just be like, you know what, screw it. We've got an extra pickup here. Let's go get him because he could be worth so much more than this. But I don't know. But anywho, Spencer Rattler, he did himself a world of wonders in this game. Everybody else stunk up the joint in terms of rushing. The national side, Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State running back, 6 carries, 30 yards. Sam Hartman had 5 carries for 29 yards. Kamani Vidal, 6 carries for 31 yards. Dylan Laub had 4 carries for 10 yards. Luke McCaffrey had his end around 1 of 5. On the national side, right, it's the little guys, Isaiah Davis and Kamani Vidal, both running at 5 yards a clip. Both made some good plays. Both did themselves good in this game. This is what you wanted to see from them. Both of them had a big splash play in this, and yeah, that's exactly what I want to see from them.
Yeah, it was not pretty for most of it, but in the end, I think that probably works their favour. Both of them found life really hard. Their defense, like I said, it was a lot of they were getting hit in the backfield or line of scrimmage, or as soon as they caught the ball in the backfield, there was literally someone there to try to stop them. And they had to deal with that for most of the day. And the numbers for any of the running backs don't jump off the sheet, but they really did just buy that little bit of time for the quarterbacks, just take a little bit of pressure on them. That's honestly all I could have asked them to do. And I think they all had, Isaiah, Amani, Kirel, like I said, they had great games. Like I
Yeah,
say, the
exactly.
numbers were like people look at the box score and they'll just like totally dismiss them, which would be very unfair because they really had not a lot of room to work with all day. And their defenses, most of them, they were just sat in the box. They were just waiting for them to run the ball because they didn't respect the passing game or the quarterbacks. That's no way to be able to run a ball effectively. So yeah, they were fully thrown under the bus and they worked with the scraps that they were fed with pretty
Yeah.
well, I'd say.
Yeah, after this, I'm willing to double down on both the Troy guys now. I think they can hang. I do. On the American side for rushing, Amani Bailey was the star, 10 carries, 54 yards for him. Cody Schrader had 7 carries for 16 yards. Then Michael Pratt, Ryan Flournoy, and Joe Milton had a few there. But Bailey's the standout. Like on the ground, guy, ground and pound, great in terms of intelligence, in finding the gaps, great footwork, showed everything you want to see from a guy his size, Ryan.
Yeah, he showed some toughness. He showed ability to work in traffic, ability to run between the tackles, things that a lot of people won't expect him to be able to do at his size and build. But yeah, in both aspects of the game, did himself the world of good. In a running back class that has very few hitters this year, the high end is just, for me, it looks bad. The depth and the middle guys towards the end, it's a minefield. And you've got to do something to make yourself stand out because those day three guys, they will be 10 a penny getting drafted. And you've
Yeah.
got to make sure you can keep your head above water or you'll be a UDFA.
Exactly. And speaking of that, we'll go straight on to the Americans receiving because their two best receivers on the day, Cody Schrader and Amani Bailey, the running backs. Schrader had 5 catches on 10 targets for 54 yards. Bailey had 4 catches on 6 targets for 34 yards. Kansas State tight end Ben Sinnott 3 catches on 4 targets for 20 yards. Rosemy Jackson from Georgia, the wide receiver, he had 1 catch for 29 yards, the touchdown pass. Jaheim Bell had 1 for 20. Lad McConkey had 1 for 15. Flournoy had 1 for 13. Thrash had 1 for 7. Jaquan Jackson had 1 for 4. But both running backs showing that receiving ability that will put them above others. Like Cody Schrader, he didn't run much in this, but he doesn't need to. Like, he's leaving college with the most rushing yards, I think, of any running back this year. Of them all, he's done what he needs to. He's shown what he can do. He runs tough. He runs good. So does Amani Bailey. Like, these two separated themselves here with that.
Yeah, they showed their all-around game. Not just one, but like I said, has to do both. Honestly, he only caught 5 out of 10, but that's because the other 5 for like Schrader, most of them were terrible. They were or they're out of bounds, or they just weren't anywhere near them. Otherwise, they'd probably caught 7, 8, 9 of them. Like I say, he didn't have the best accuracy to work with out the backfield. He made the most of what he could. And yeah, everyone knows Cody can run the ball this year. Dominant year on the ground. Showed now that he's able to be snuck out the backfield, able to get those passing plays. That's kind of the wrinkle you need to see from him, so you know he's not just a one-trick pony. Goes to the same man. Like I say, yeah, the well-rounded running backs in this class will do better than the slightly more upside rushers that just don't offer anything else.
Exactly.
And they're running backs that show they can block. They'll do pretty well this year if you can pass block.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of that asked of the running backs in this one, but there's a lot of things you can't do in this. Like, you can't blitz your safeties and your cornerbacks in this game either, so you can't show that, which I think is ridiculous. But there's certain things they just choose not to do at the Senior Bowl. The Nationals receiving it makes for sorry viewing. Luke McCaffrey led the way, 2 catches on 3 targets for 28 yards. 2 big catches for him. That's good. Javon Baker, 2 catches on 4 targets for 22 yards. AJ Banner and Theo Johnson, the tight ends, they both had 2 catches for 17 and 12, respectively. Kamani Vidal and Isaiah Davis, the running backs, had 1 each. Brevin Spanford had his 1 catch for 2 yards and his touchdown, but this is the one that stings. Devontae Walker, 8 targets, 0 catches. And then Brendan Rice, the USC wide receiver, 1 target, no catches. Let's focus on the positive here. Luke McCaffrey didn't get like anywhere near the amount of targets some of the other guys did, but he took his chance with them.
Yep. Catches, a punt return, a rush. Collectively, he had like 50, 60 yards in all the phases of the game. And yeah, you look at them, you look at what he did, and you wonder, why on earth did Tez Walker get 8 targets? What exactly did he do to warrant those targets? Especially after the first 4 or 5. Like, I'm guessing they just see Luke as a slot receiver. That's kind of how it feels like they're just going to pigeonhole him. Like, they just didn't give him any of the deep fruits that Tez got, where maybe he could have had a chance to make a play. Yeah, he was feeding, like, say, off the scraps of like what other guys were getting, but he still probably took more of his chances and had himself a better game than a lot of the guys. So he would have probably been quite frustrated. I think, like I say, he probably should have seen a bigger share of the pie, to be honest.
Yeah, he did. He ended up with 55 on the day, so it's good for him. 20 punt return, 28 receiving, 5 rushing. Interesting fact here. So leader of all-purpose yards was split. There were 2 of them who led all-purpose yards on the day. Amani Bailey was 1. He had 87 yards on the day, 53 rushing, 34 receiving. Do you want to know who tied him for all-purpose yards on the day? Cornerback Chow Smith-Wade for his interception return for 87 yards. That shows you what an offensive game it was, that a corner was the joint highest yards guy on the day. Interesting little tidbit there, right? But just goes to show.
It sums up everything we saw, really.
It does, yes. So well done to Charles Smith-Wade for having joint most all-purpose yards of the day, despite the fact that he plays on defense. And speaking of defense, got to give the guys love here. So on the Nationals team, Cedric Gray, the linebacker from UNC, led the way. 4 solo tackles, 3 assisted tackles, and 2 pass breakups. Edifwan Ulafosio, the Washington linebacker, 3 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles for 5 overall. He had half a sack and half a tackle for loss as well. And then Braden Fiske, defensive tackle from Florida State. He had 2 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles, half a sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. Chow Smith-Wade, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 pass breakup, 87 return yards. Looked great in coverage there. I mean, there's some quite good ones in there, but let's start with some of those, right? Gray, Ulafosio, Fiske, Smith-Wade, like really good games from the 4 of them.
Yeah, the backers just feasted. They just knew they had their offenses right where they wanted them. They knew they were going to end up running the ball right at them, or they were going to have to try use digs, check, slant, crossing routes, check downs to just try make the defense just respect them a little bit. So they were able to just sit fairly comfortably in the middle of the field, bit closer to the line of scrimmage, and the ball before the ball was snapped, just haul ass, like I say, and they were just meeting the guys as soon as they were catching the balls. Cedric Gray had a really good day in coverage, 2 pass breakups when they did maybe try to catch him out, try to go in behind him or over him, get a crossing route like a tight end or receiver in behind him. But no, he won't fold. Got the hands up. He's got a good wingspan, batted the balls down. No, there's no issues about where the ball was going to be. He got the play. And yeah, Braden Fiske, he can move them around. Like I say, he can generate pressure from the inside. He can get around the outside. He really did have a good day with the quarterbacks. Really quick off the snap, beating the offensive linemen, beating the running backs, and just giving them nowhere to go. Players were just pretty much dead from the snap as soon as he was getting off a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. Some really good performances on the defense there from them. Let me just... So other ones, Cole Bishop, he had a couple of good tackles on the day, again, preventing first downs on the tight ends, everything you want to see from those guys. Javen Solomon did well. He had a couple of tackles on the day, and they said his run defense really, really good. And of course, Evan Williams needs props for his interception as well, which kind of turned the game at the point that he made it. Going on to the American team, and we're talking linebackers again. Nathaniel Watson, 2 solo tackles, 5 assisted for 7 total. He had half a tackle for loss and a pass breakup. You've got Kentucky linebacker Trayvon Wallace. He had 6 tackles and half a tackle for a loss as well. James Williams, the Miami linebacker, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss for him. And then Jackson Sermon, the Cal linebacker, 5 tackles for him, pass breakup, really impressive performance on the day. Tyrese Knight is in the top 7 as well. You've got linebackers galore on the American team here, Ryan. Again, some really good linebacker performances from them in the middle. Nathaniel Watson, especially, and Jackson Sermon, 2 names who've done themselves no amount of good, no end of good after this game.
Yeah, very well rounded. Playing the run, dropping into coverage, and if they saw a play that was going to be behind the line of scrimmage, getting downhill fast, but keeping the discipline to stay upright and not get fooled by these running backs that are very elusive, bringing them down at the point of contact, finishing, wrapping up, and showing really good levels of technique, taking good angles. They were all very physical, but they were all very disciplined at the same time, not overshooting, not over pursuing, not getting carried away before the snap, thinking what's going to happen, even though they did have a good idea what was going to happen. They still played it true to how it panned out. So yeah, linebackers, both teams, they were the best. They were the entire best unit on the day.
Yeah, and you've got to give a shout out to the Americans DBs as well. 10 pass breakups on the day for them. Cam Kinchens, he had 3 tackles and a pass breakup. Tyke Smith, 1 tackle, half a tackle for a loss, 3 pass breakups for him. Elijah Jones, the corner from Boston College, he had 1. Nehemiah Pritchett from Auburn had 2. Carlton Johnson, the Fresno State DB, had 1. Again, sort of another unit that did really well here, right? But like Tyke Smith again, tackles for loss in the backfield. You can blitz him, you can bring him up against the bigger guys. He sits well in coverage. It's just such an enigma coming out of this as to like why he's not getting more love. But the DBs did really well. Kimchens has had first round consideration in the past. Elijah Jones, these guys, Nehemiah Pritchett, they're gonna bump up their stock because of this.
Yeah, a lot of these passes from the quarterback, a lot of them they weren't the best, they weren't the prettiest, but they were there to be caught. They had to be broken up. And even if a lot of these guys, some of them, they were beaten and the guys got in behind them, but they showed the ability to recover, which is really important. Like saying, get their hands in there, find any way to break it up. So they showed those skills on the back end to kind of just stay alive, stay in the play, hang in there long enough, and know that in the end that they can win their reps. So really good day. 10 pass breakups as a unit is really good. That tells you that the quarterbacks were getting the ball in the right places, the receivers were there at the right time, but they just weren't winning. They were just getting boxed out, or their hand-eye coordination, their ball skills were just superior on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some really good names to watch out on the back of this who have not been getting love. And to finish it off, special teams, got to do it. Joshua Carty was 1 of 3 on his field goals. He hit from 37, 52, and 19, missed from 32. Will Rijkaard only was 0 of 1, but his missed field goal was from 57. Punters, Tory Taylor hit 4 punts for 180 yards, nearly 45 yards per clip for him. Austin McNamara hit 5 for 176, just 35. He didn't do his prospects in this one very good, but yeah, that is it for the Senior Bowl game. So we'll go talk about training in a minute, but coming out of this, right, who for you out of everybody has benefited the most from this game? Who's the one you come out and think, yeah, like he's the one from this?
There's 2 of them. So we saw Bartolone and Christian Haynes both play guard and centre in the game and practice down under centre snapping the ball and at guard all week. And they both did both to a fairly high standard for an all-star game, which for them probably does them the world of good. Their positional versatility is really big. So interior linemen, I think, did pretty well. And a lot of the run support, they forced some great holes on the day for running backs in between them and the centre. So yeah, I think the guards both did really well. I think Christian Haynes he's cementing himself as a round 2 pick, which for him is like say is going to be a phenomenal value. And yeah, but it's like Bartolini. Someone will look at him and think future centre, maybe part-time guard or flip. So yeah, they both did themselves a world of good from the practice and had fairly good games.
Yeah, I agree. That I love anyone who watches this knows I love Christian more than anything. Like he's the one this year. He's going to go high. Like the need for offensive line this year, these guards are going to go higher than they're projected. For me, there's a few I like from this, but I feel like my double down on Cody Schrader worked from this purely because he comes out looking like a beast as a receiver. Like I said, he's the only guy who made Smith Wade look like a chump in this one. And that was an open field thing. And as a running back, that's huge. To have that ability to be able to force the missed tackles, get the yak as a receiver is big, especially when you can run the ball as well as him. You've got to give the props to Smith Wade as well, though. Like, in a stacked cornerback class, he's now going to insert himself into those higher echelon conversations. So, yeah, he's also had a big game as well. But there were quite a few who did good there. But let's just talk a little bit more about the sort of training aspect of the week now. Coming up into this. And, of course, Senior Bowl you see a lot about some of the guys here performing really well, and you see a lot more clips than you do with the Shrine, because obviously the bigger guys are here. But in terms of guys who showed out here, some of them who didn't play, I mean, the one on everybody's lips, Detroit related at the minute, is JPJ. Like Jackson Powers Johnson, the dude, like he didn't need to play in this because he just bodied every single DT he played against all week.
Yeah, he has just proven that he looks. He's not the. Well, I don't know. Is he the finished article? He looked it in practice. He felt obviously strong enough that he didn't need to play, and he was going to give one of the guys that need more reps there. But he looks like he's maybe a starting day one centre, and that's quite impressive. That's not easy to do at all. But yeah, he just was mauling guys up. I think at the next level, he's pretty confident in his ability to just swallow defensive tackles, take on double teams, and force large holes for running backs. I think he knows what he is, and I think, yeah, he might have now forced his way into the upper echelons of the first round. And was that a thing a couple of weeks ago? I don't feel like it was.
I mean, just thinking about it, has there been a centre taken higher than Frank since we took him? I don't feel like there has.
No,
There
Creed.
can't be that many centres.
Linderbaum. No, there's been
Creed wasn't even the first. It'd be Tyler would be the closest, wouldn't it? I think he was what,
and he wasn't that
24?
high.
No. And JPJ probably stacks up better than Tyler Linderbaum. So like he could go higher than he might go higher than Frank did. I mean, we took Frank at what, 21, 20? It was like we took him
around there,
we took him high. But somebody's gonna do it. It's just not gonna be us. We're not gonna do that, I don't think. In terms of other guys who perform well during the week, I mean, obviously the guy we saw a lot of, and the other enigma here is Quinyon Mitchell, the Toledo cornerback. Like, group of five guy, how high can he go? He didn't play in the game, but the only question on him is his level of competition that he's played against, because he's played in the MAC. I mean, he played at Ohio State, but didn't really see much time there. Played in the MAC, but again, his coverage looked as sticky as anybody this week against really top quality receivers who were going to go high in the draft. I mean, he seems to have answered more questions than raised more questions.
Yeah, he's not stuck out like a sore thumb this week, which is probably a good thing against upper increased levels of talent. He's held his own more than he's been beaten. He's looked really good in one-on-ones. And I think I saw today in that Field Yates mock draft that I put in the group, do you know where he was taken? I think he was 17th overall to the LA Rams.
Wow.
I think that's where Field Yates has him in his first official mock of the year. He was like top 20, which I thought, well, I thought that, I don't know if that was crazy or not, but yeah, he has certainly won some people over in the recent weeks with his ability to win one-on-one in drills and how tight his coverage is, how physical he is, how he just sticks to guys like glue. He's also got a pretty good build. So he's got all the tools. It's just purely, I suppose, experience and the level of knowledge and how quick he's going to learn it.
Exactly. The
Probably
thing is, he's
someone that's going to be taken way too early for a lot of teams like him.
It's the thing, isn't it? It's the cornerback class is that deep in the first round. It's personal preference for teams. Like one of the better cornerbacks may go later because no team scheme fits him. It's a really weird situation for them all. But this cornerbacks who forced themselves into the conversation from the Senior Bowl here. So who knows? Grandizer quickly mentioned Cesar Ruiz as a question to the center thing. He was taken 24th, so not as high as Frank in 2020, but good. Saints, yeah.
They got Saints, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. So good answer, Grandizer, but not quite. So I still think Frank is the highest one. No one's been taken higher since Frank. JPJ may well threaten that. Who else for you then stood out in training? Who were you quite impressed with in the training portion of Senior Bowl?
See, I've seen a lot of people say that is it Brendan Rice, the USC wide receiver? Good camp, good drills, non-existent game. But I say he turned some heads. He looked fairly athletic. He looked good, decent route tree. His breaks, his cuts were fairly clean. Like he's someone that had a better week than he did a day. But for me, I think that's more important. Like I say, this is also a very potentially deep lying wide receiver class, and he doesn't want to get lost in it. And everyone knows Lad McConkey is Lad McConkey. The guy is just so compact and so his cuts and his routes are just so clean. He just gets separation wherever he can, despite not being a supreme athlete or oddly big. He's just really good at what he does.
Yeah, I saw the same as you. I've just never been that big. It's not like he's Frank Gore Jr., who's had like a magnificent college career, who looks like he could be every bit as good as his dad. I mean, I've just never got the same with Brendan. And like you said, one target in a game in a team where the receivers were light and they didn't have too many of them. Like Devontae had 8 compared, so it's a bit like, what's he doing? Is he not getting trust of the ball? Did he not want to play? Who knows? But I would be a bit concerned with that there. I mean, for me, in terms of other guys who perform well, I'm just going to say because it got put in the chat today, probably as to make me feel good with it being Valentine's Day and all. But oh God, I've just lost him. My Missouri, Chris Abrams Drain. I just had a complete mental breakdown there. Abrams Drain had a really good week, and people are starting to come around to the idea that he is first round quarterback. Why? Because he got it up here. Like in terms of cerebral cornerbacks, he's right up there with the best in this class. And if you've got in here, you don't need the movement skill. You don't need all those other little elite traits because your brain's going to get you there first. And like he looked really good in practice this week. Didn't play in the game, but I don't think he needed to. Him and Rackstraw are both going to go high from Missouri. I still want Abrams Jane, but I'd take either of them. But he had a really good week. Haynes had a really good week. He's turning heads. Made Michael Jefferson have a little paddy and a tantrum, which was quite funny there. Who else am I trying to think had a really good week out of all of them? It's weird. So I thought McConkey had a good week, but I don't know what to make of the Georgia wide receivers. Like Rosemy Jackson has slowly grown on me. He had his touchdown in the game, and McConkey looks good, but it's just, you can't escape the nagging urge that there's just something not right with them because they just don't seem to have really broken out in college. I don't know. You like me? I like them, but I feel like there's something stopping me from truly liking them, but I don't know why.
I like him, but I feel like we'll work out their ceiling very quickly at the next level. I feel like that pure lack of elite athleticism, like I say, when they come up against guys more physical, smarter, bit more clued up, will it catch up with them? It might do actually in the end. And they might go from college, well, ladder college star to a small time role player. I think like he might find life difficult next level.
Who else did well? I mean, I guess the one we've mentioned, because of Michigan relations and all, but Roman Wilson, like uber impressive with his route running and his catching and pretty much everything. Like, didn't see him during the game, but I thought he had a hell of an impressive week.
Yeah, he looks every bit of the guy that we saw in the Wolverines jersey. Like you say, he's got good hands. He gets good separation, runs nice tidy routes, and we've just seen the likes of guys do well like Jane Reed and Ronnie Bell. Like I said, a kind of build that they've kind of got, but they're elusive. Like they can create mismatches. They can get like guys where they breaks in coverage or lapses. They're able to get on that. I kind of see him in that mold. It wouldn't surprise me if the Lions threw like a late day 2, early day 3 kind of pick at him and kind of brought him in with the ties he's got. It wouldn't surprise me because we're not going to go high at wide receiver, but we do. We still need some depth, and I feel like he offers a lot of depth.
Yeah, I just don't know if he fits in our scheme, but I guess he will. They'll just take players wherever. They won't care about scheme fit or anything. Well, They won't care about whether they've got somebody who can already do his job. They'll just get great players in. So others, I mean, we've mentioned during the game, but like all week, Braden Fiske, like the show is named after him today. It's a fist full of dollars. Like he's made himself some serious money in the draft this week. If there's going to be a bigger riser in comparison to like where they are and how high they're going to go in retrospect, it's probably him. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, because he's shown that he's more than just a run stuffer. He's shown that he's more than just an interior plug in, hope for the best, offers little to small amounts on the outside. I feel like now you could look at him maybe to develop him as a one day he plays 3 out of 4 downs. Ask him, kick him out wide and say, can you go get the quarterback? Can you develop a bit more of a pass rush arsenal? I feel like some will look at that and probably think, yeah, he can do the dirty stuff already. I think I can teach him to do some of the flashier stuff. He's got the basics down, and that's probably what you need from a full on, like say, 3 tech, a 3-eye, 4 protect, kind of what you want from him. Like say, you're never going to be the wide 9 or like that, but he'll move around like say an odd or an uneven front.
He's just got a really good understanding of leverage. Like I say, if you're going to put him up against the bigger tackles who you can get under and move him around, he's probably got a role he can do with that as well. So, absolutely. And then the other one I want to mention before we move on to some of the downer ones, but this is becoming the big bone of contention now, especially in our Discord, because I mentioned him as part of the group to watch for this. There is common misunderstanding that I don't like this guy. I do, just not in the first round. But Darius Robinson, so he's the Missouri edge. So as you remember us telling you about, Marcus Harris and Darius Robinson were the guys who had long careers in the SEC, not very fruitful ones because they've both been DTs who've sort of been kicked out more to edge recently. And Darius Robinson is the one who's got the better frame. He's the taller guy. He's the 6'4", 250-pound one he's got the frame to be an edge rusher. And he lit up practices this week. He's coming off his best season by far, and he lit up the practices this week as an edge. But, and I say this with the greatest respect, everyone knows I hate RAS Warriors. I hate RAS Warriors. I like guys who've got production. He's not the finished article yet, and I don't spend pick 29 on these guys. But he's moving into first round consideration now. He might be this year's, Adatom Yiwa, Adabaware, like the pajama warrior who's not done much in college, but gets the love because of his physical specimen and how good he is. And he could be a great player, just not in the first. But I don't know, Ryan. Would you spend a first on him?
See, it's one of them things. I know he will destroy the combine. He will just put up crazy numbers. Will he go in the first round? Well, did David Ojabo? Did Jason Orway? Remember when he had a mint combine from Penn State and he snuck into the first round? It's probably going to happen here. Is it going to be to Detroit? I don't know. Like you say, he's clocked in at 6'6", 250. He's got.
Oh God, he's even bigger.
Yeah, he's got the frame. He's just like, he is a freak. But as you say, 1 year, 8.5 sacks, 4 years of, we don't really know where to play you. We'll get to a point where we'll just kick you outside and see, experiment. He's an experimental player. He's very raw. On paper, the stats, like I say, great week practice. I love him. Will he fizzle out? Will he get to their next level and just be bouncing in between and outside and just struggling at either? Or will he make it work at one of them? I can't say. Can I see the Lions drafted him at 29? If he absolutely destroys the combine, probably, yeah. They'll just, like I say, and hope that he does turn into the next Ezekiel Answer. Or, like I say, can he just compliment Hutch because they're just so alike of a relentless motor? Like I say,
Yeah.
I can see them doing it. Like I say, but some guys, like you say, if he goes out there and runs if he runs a 4.6, something crazy, jumps like 10.5, 11 feet, and just lights up the numbers, it won't fool some people. They still won't do it. They still won't spend the first round on him.
No, and that's where I'm at. I love the player. I hate spending high picks on intangibles and what they could be. I want them to be there. So yeah, that's the thing. I really like him as a player, so don't be under the misconception that I don't like him, but he's Adebaware. I'd have taken Adebaware later enough in last year's draft, but yeah, just not so high there. Speaking of the 40s and ridiculous, quickly before we go on to that, did you see they reckon Nate Wiggins could break the record, the 40 record? Apparently he's running 4.2s at this moment in time.
It won't surprise me after the forced fumble that he got on the Marion Hampton.
Yeah.
Saying that he runs the entire length of the field in a few seconds. Honestly, Nate Wiggins, if he, like, say, runs like in the 4.3s, he's a lock for like a top 20, 25 pick. I reckon someone will just be all over him like a rash.
Absolutely, yes, he would be. Okay, so we've talking about the guys who've done well, guys who haven't done so well this week. So I mean, I guess this is a pretty, for starters, it's easy because every quarterback not named Michael Penix or Spencer Rattler's probably done bad. But outside of that, who for you has harmed their chances this week? Who's not had a good week and is going to struggle on the back end of this?
Well, it feels bad to just beat down on Tez Walker, doesn't it? But
yeah,
it's been a rotten week for a guy that had a really tumultuous season where kind of everything went wrong and he was just stuck on the sidelines for a long time. And it's not like he didn't have chances, that's the thing. So many targets, a lot of practice, but yeah, it kind of feels like he's come out of this thing worse than he went into it.
So he had the really bad day on the Wednesday as well. But the thing is, he's not had this problem in his college career. So would you chalk it up to, would you be willing to forgive that? Like, because you've seen him do it in college, or is it like he can't do it at these all-star games? It does matter because it's the whole debate between what you've seen on tape in college and what you see in the off season. Like, too many people get worked up on what you see. But are you really concerned about this now? Is it like a really big thing, or are you willing to forgive it because it's what he's done?
I'll forgive it, but he's certainly not very high on my board now. He's not
No.
getting any considerable worthy draft stock capital. He's getting a
Yeah.
flyer, if not like a priority UDFA. I think we're in that territory now, and I just don't see that really being salvaged.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing wide receivers. I said we got to watch out for him, but I thought Xavier Legetta looked bad. Like he had trouble running routes, and we said that was the issue with him. He's had one really, really good year and like has completely broken out, but because he's not got the experience, he can't run routes very well. And when the go is your only thing and your speed is your only thing, and you struggle with the more technically refined stuff, that's going to knock your draft capital down significantly.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't want him to be a one-trick pony. I don't want him to
No.
just be a go ball specialist like Jalen Hyatt was in his last year at Tennessee. Every route was just a deep ball. And he broke crazy numbers because, like I say, he got in behind and used straight line speed. Whereas this year, like I say, he was asked to do a bit more. And it's taking a lot longer for him to come on, despite being a fairly high draft pick. Kind of feels like Xavier Legetta will go on that path. Where they're going to have to ease him in, probably going to have to water down the playbook for him. And he's going to have to spend probably a lot of time with his coaches, the quarterbacks, just practicing, just refining everything that he's got, running routes, cuts, and everything. Probably take it back to basics as a rookie. And yeah, that really does hamper a guy's ceiling because he won't see the field much in his rookie year at all.
Yeah, he's got the he's got the intangibles, and I said as much. He's got it, but you've got to have it refined. Like you've got to be more refined at this point, and that's trouble with the late bloomers. So trouble with guys like Darius Robinson. Their arsenal isn't refined because they've not been doing it long enough, and that kind of hurts you going forward because the NFL, it's a big boon. It's a big step up in competition. It's sometimes hard to catch up. Right, other guys who didn't do too well. I mean, this just mainly revolves around the quarterbacks, sorry, right? Like Pratt, like, Hartman. the fringe guys, like all these fringe quarterbacks who've come in, even maybe Carter Bradley. I don't think he was that bad, but he didn't connect with a lot of his throws. He didn't make any boneheaded mistakes. But it's like the quarterbacks of there's a massive gap now. Like some of these could have pushed, but even like Penix and Nix have not forced themselves into that. Like there's the top three now, and then there's a chasm until the next guys. This has just been widened even further.
Yeah, and not really for any fault of their own, like say not playing or just playing sparingly. I kind of maybe I think like looking at the Senior Bowl when I saw them listed out, like I thought, oh, they'll make a jump. Realistically, they were never going to bridge the gap to Jane Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and then like you say, it is a Mariana Trench. Bo Nix, I think probably taking the first. I can see Michael Penix doing a Will Levis. Can you see him falling out the first round? Because I can now.
Oh, don't you'll get your mate Matt stay. That's been Matt's hot take for a while, and he hears you saying that. Then
the other guys, like say, I've got a terrible feeling someone will throw a pick at Jalen. I think someone will be like, "Oh, we can salvage him. He's got a good arm. The decision making's poor." I think he'll get drafted over the likes of Sam Hartman, who might just go like skid out of not getting drafted at all, or Bradley. So yeah, we're probably in that territory now where it's you're a UDFA, or if you don't want to do it, you go play in the UFL or the CFL. You might have to take that route to get back into professional football.
yeah, and you know what? Maybe this opens the door for other guys like the fringe guys, like John Rice Plumley, like Davius Richard, like the HBCU Legacy Bowl's coming up soon. He's now got a prime window to go out there and show that he's better than some of these middling guys at the top. And he might not cost you as much either, but you'll get more from him. And like Plumlee's not going to the combine, which is a shame. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think these fringe quarterbacks have got a big opportunity now. The HBCU Legacy Bowl just became big. Maybe and did the pro day circuit as well. Like Plumlee's pro day is going to be really intriguing. So yeah, we will. Unless is there anyone else, any other players you want to mention before we move on to sort of combine things, or anything else you want to mention about the Senior Bowl before we wrap this up?
Well, I think it's to be understood the tight ends would struggle all week. I think it's hard to Senior Bowl tight ends. Like you say, that you don't get much chances passing, and you already know can and can't block. So a lot of the lesser names, like the guy from like Furman and guys like that, they didn't stand a chance. They were never going to see any playing time in the game whatsoever. You just forget they're there.
No, they did. I mean, Jaheim Bell showed he's a good receiver. Like he got the one choked back because of the hold or the ineligible man downfield. He got another big chunk play. Sinnott did well as a run blocker, and he got some catches as well. Span Ford might be the one who's benefited, but I don't know how much a 2 yard pass, a touchdown catch is going to do for him, but it will, because it's the big hole in his game. Lack of touchdowns, lack of receiving ability. So, but yeah, there's no one who's sort of shot up to the top or like shot up into the up.
Jared Wiley could have been the big breakout guy.
Yeah.
It didn't materialize.
I feel like Jaheim Sanders is up there on his own now, almost, like in tight end ranks. Like, this is a weird year because I couldn't really tell you. If you asked me who are the top 5 tight ends now, I probably couldn't tell you. Like, most years you have a vague idea. This year, I don't have a Scooby. So, no. Yeah, it's tough sledding for sure for the tight ends. Right, we're going to leave that there. So, the Shrine Bowl is done. The Senior Bowl is done. The Hula Bowl is done. The first 3 of the main 4 All-Star games is out the way. So in terms of the path to the draft now, the next stop in a couple of weeks, I believe it's exactly 2 weeks to the day, the 28th, will be the HBCU Legacy Bowl, where the best talent from the HBCUs come together. And again, we've seen some of these guys already in the All-Star circuit. Davius Richard, Mikey Victor, Sunday Arthur Anderson, who had a really good week at the Shrine Bowl. So there's going to be a lot to come there. We will do a show on that nearer the time, hopefully with our good friend Gerald to come back on for that. But then after that, right, it's It's the big one. It's the combine. 321 players all merging in one area for the pajama games, all this fun and games going on there. It's hard to believe it's come round so quick, but the invite list has been released and we've seen some very noticeable snubs on there. But the one we were most disappointed by, the Canadian CFL legend Qantas Stiggers, has not had an invite. And Ryan went to bat for him on Twitter and actually got a response from Stiggers himself, who's like, hey, it's all right, man. We'll work through it. But I think it's ridiculous he's not going. Like, he was one of the best players at the Shrine Bowl in terms of the DBs. He showed what he needed to. He's in good form. Like, why can't he? He stands to benefit more than everyone else gets a pro day, which is basically a combine. Like, he doesn't unless he gets to a school somewhere. It's ridiculous that he's not got an invite, right?
Yeah, and it kind of just shows how hard the NFL makes it for CFL guys or guys that don't go to college, because they're just basically saying you've got no platform to show yourself. But I say, I'm pretty sure there's rules a way around it. They could have made him eligible. He could have been at the combine. I'm sure he could have, but no, didn't get an invite. And the number of FCS schools, group of 5 schools, like I said, the 321, it's minuscule. The percentage, like the small schools and that, there's hardly any of them. It kind of sucks.
It does. So some of the more noticeable snubs on there as well. So, I mean, the one I'm most annoyed about is Joshua Cephas, the wide receiver from UTSA, who I want the Lions to draft quite high up in the draft. He's not got an invite. He is not going to be able to go. But then you've got other names on there. So Grayson Murphy, the edge from UCLA, the guy who had the fantastic Shrine Bowl the other week, no invite. Taulia Tungvailoa, the quarterback from Maryland, no invite. Carter Bradley, the quarterback from South Alabama, not got one. Omar Spates, the LSU linebacker, not got one. Jabari Small, the running back from Tennessee. Blake Watson, the running back from Memphis. Blake Watson had one of the most impressive Shrine Bowls of anybody. He ain't going. Isaac Rex, the tight end from BYU, who we like there. It's like it. All these are big snubs, right? Like, these guys all have done well in their All-Star games, and they've not got any reward for it.
It makes you think, what's the point of the All-Star games? If they're not able to book a spot at the combine, then why are they there? Like, usually they have like 95% of the players going. If you're going to leave out some of the best performers, then they've busted their whole ass for a week for nothing. Because, like I said, their schools, some will have a pro day, some won't. But even if they do, no one's going to go. They could just be practicing basically just to submit official numbers. There might not be a single NFL scout in sight. It'll just make it feel like they've wasted their time a bit.
Yeah, and like ones like the Big 12, they're doing their mass pro day this year. So that is going to be like a combine where every team in the Big 12 is going to do their pro day in the same location at the same time. It's like, that's a big platform. Like, they get that. Why can't other guys get the combine? There are other names on here that have been missed, which are, mind-boggling. So we mentioned Jackson Sermon, the guy who was a stud in the Senior Bowl game, the only guy from the Senior Bowl who has not been invited to Indy. Now, he was a late call-up, but he plays one of the best performers in the game, full stop. He's not going to get to go. Mark Perry, the safety from TCU, not going. Christian Boyd, the defensive tackle from Northern Iowa, had a staggeringly good Shrine Bowl week. One of the best DTs there, not going. And the other one, Brian, this might tick you. I don't know if you know, but Jarius Monroe, the DB from Tulane, no invite.
May that make sense, eh? What a crazy year he had. Tulane, one of the national sweethearts of the last 2 years. Just done crazy things. Like I said, he had an interception, didn't he? In the Shrine Bowl. He even got a turnover. Great practice all week in a cornerback that, like I said, cornerback room that's so deep. Like saying we already know he's got the measurables. He already clocked in at like 6'2" and 190. He would have tested potentially so well. Just why no invite someone that could have just done really well athletically?
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, there's just guys all over. Like the cornerbacks have struggled, particularly AJ Woods, the Pittsburgh cornerback. He's not going. Jaquan Shepherd, the Maryland cornerback. He's not going. Um, and then Kenny Logan, the Kansas DB. He's not going. It seems to be the DBs have been pushed out here, but like Plumlee's the big one and quarterback. Like, why is he not going? He's the most intriguing prospect of the lot of them, potentially out of the guys outside the top three.
Yeah, athletically. Like say, as a baseball player, a runner, pitcher. Like say, he's not big. Like say, the frame's not big, but he could have been deceptively fast. Could have jumped well. Could have done really good cones. Could have put himself together a really nice package of numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we just don't know with some of these guys. In terms of small school guys though, who are going, let's
Oh no,
maybe.
Jaden Jackson Yankee. Mate, that makes sense. Neither of them.
Oh, the Yankees are not going.
Nope, neither of them are there.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Like, I don't get that at all.
The careers they've had.
That is crazy to me that they're not going to be able to go to that because again, really good games. So you're thinking, why are they not able? Why are they not able to go and do their thing? In terms of some of the, let's talk about some of the smaller school guys who do get to go though. Isaiah Davis, he's going, the running back from South Dakota State. I mean, and Dylan Laub, like the two of those going there. Jaden Sheridan is going, the Monmouth running back. I mean, you watch these guys a lot more than me, but I think seeing the three of them, like, there's potential multiples who could be drafted here, the FCS running backs. Like, they've shown they can hang.
Oh yeah, Davis for me. I can't wait to see him do like a bench press. I think he should do really well when he's benching weights. So I want to see how he tests athletically because his build, his game is really good. The only good thing is the South Dakota State Pro Day will attract a very big crowd. After their national championship run and their players, they're going to do really well. But yeah, fascinating, like you said, these running backs that they're all going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just a testament to how good they're doing. I mean, Sheridan's he's like the real small school guy, the Monmouth running back. Probably be a UDFA, but a good showing for him. Who knows? Might be able to sneak in there. The receivers, they've got quite a good representation as well. So we've got Jalen Coker from Holy Cross going. Ryan Flournoy, the guy in this game, Southeast Missouri State, he's going as well. We've seen quite a lot of these small school guys represented in the playoff games. They're the two who get the nod, though. They're, again, both very much draftable prospects.
Coker needs it, though, Donny, as well.
Yeah.
Injury, couldn't really do much of it. I'm guessing it remains to be seen if he'll actually go. I wouldn't be surprised if he don't heal in time or he can't go full percent, he'll probably just pull out and then wait for his pro day. But yeah, with Ryan, like I say, interesting. Really small school, really big build. Like I say, could test off the charts potentially. Could be another Raz King, for all we know. Yeah, he's a real unknown entity in this class because honestly, I don't know a thing about the lad.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see these guys there for sure. None of the tight ends made it, weirdly enough. So none of the FCS tight ends will be going. Offensive line is represented though, and the one guy who's I'm pretty good with names, but even I struggle with this one. So you've got Kieran Amagardi. He's the Yale tackle. He's going. He's absolute brute as well. You've got Anim Dankwa, the one from Howard, but he's the one who measured in at 396, didn't he? He's going to have to lose a lot of poundage for this. He needs a very good combine because he messed up big time in the All Stars.
Oh yeah, they'll be watching his weight carefully. I bet he'll be running with the sweatsuits on, watching what he eats. Like I say, he needs to prove that he can take it seriously. and the
Yeah,
weigh-in will, yeah, you can't be that immobile at nearly 400 pounds on the offensive line.
no,
People
no.
will just beat you bang to rights off the snap if you can't shift.
Yeah, absolutely. It's others you got Josiah Ezirim, the Eastern Kentucky tackle. We saw him in the Shrine Bowl. Garrett Greenfield, the South Dakota State guard, is in there. CJ Hansen, the Holy Cross center. No, his tackle is in there as well. There's a lot of Mason McCormick's in there. He is the center for South Dakota State. I mean, offensive line. And Jalen Sundell's in there, North Dakota State. They've had an offensive lineman drafted the last 3 drafts. Like they're continuing their record. Might be the place to get a bit of success in the draft.
Small schools tackles or line in recent years have had a blinder, and they will continue to get invited to the combine as long as they keep doing well. I don't know what they feed these kids, but in recent years, like I say, they just keep producing top level, at least backup, at least depth guys that actually make 53s.
Yeah, absolutely. You're getting a lot of good out there on the D line. Jalix Hunt is going, the Houston Christian D lineman, linebacker, kind of hybridy guy. I mean, he's going to be interesting. So you mentioned him, relentless, great engine, seems to have everything he needs, got the build. And if he shows athletic ability, if he shows that he gets the high RAS score, then he's like he's the one who could shoot into contention for a higher draft pick.
Yeah, he's only got a few years of production. Like you say, he's flashy. He's got the explosiveness. He should test really well. And like you say, he's had a decent week, but he's not really lit anything up. But yeah, I think once you get him and you look at him, you put him through the drills and invite him as well. I think his interviews are probably the biggest thing for him. Is sitting down and talking to him, because I already know how athletically gifted he is. But if you can't answer questions properly and look at plays and look at a playbook, all that talent and that frame and everything, it'll be wasted. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he speaks to them.
Absolutely, especially with the lines, it all means everything when it comes down to the interviews. No linebackers from the FCS. Willie Drew is going, the Virginia State corner. He's one of the lowest ranked players who will be going to this. Virginia State not big at all. Miles Harden, the South Dakota corner, will be there as well. I think that is pretty much it for the FCS prospects, the smaller school ones who've made it. Yes, I believe so. So that's it for the smaller school guys who made it. But in combine in general, because I know when we talk about the combine should matter very little for your scouting beliefs. If you've seen the player do it in college, you've seen the tape, that's what you should base it off. But just sometimes you do need to see a little something in the combine from somebody who for you, guys you like or guys you might like, whose combine matters most for them.
I think someone like Kalen King, because like you say, he's undersized. He kind of needs a good combine, needs a decent 40. Like I say, otherwise he will skid. Like I say, I've seen it on the field, but athletically, he's going to have to test well or he's going to struggle.
Yeah, I'd agree there. So, trying to think in terms of guys, I mean, I know Robinson's going to do well. I guess I want to see that. Because I think who was the other Missouri edge who I really liked last year? He was in the same predicament. Oh God, what's his name? I've forgotten now. Completely off, but he needs to have a good one. There's probably the smallest good ones. I wanted Cephas to go and do this. I'm just this that Joshua Cephas is not going. Like he's my one of my favorite receivers in this draft, and I really want him to be able to go and show it. But we'll have to wait till the UTSA Pro Day now. So, anywho, we will do more on the combine as it gets closer because it's still a few weeks away yet. We've got the HBCU Legacy Bowl coming up first. If there's anything else you want to ask us quickly before we get out here, let us know while I go through all the other little bits and bobs. Anything else quickly combine related you want to mention, Rye, before I move it on?
I reckon we'll see a lot of players drop out or added to the next few weeks. I can see this list changing quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of injured players. Like Travis is going. Jordan Travis is going. He's quite clearly not going to test. I think Zinter's on the list as well, but he's quite clearly not going to test despite him saying otherwise. So who knows? Maybe we will. But yeah, there's a lot of big snubs on this list who we're not happy with. So we're going to have to wait for pro days instead. But as I said, when the combine gets closer, we will go through it more. In terms of next shows coming up, the main Detroit Lions podcast for us is on Monday. It is awards night. Detroit Lions 2023 season, our annual awards show, our fourth one. We love doing it. It's good fun. So dress up, get glitzy, come join us for that. And don't forget to vote as well. I think Matt's in the chat. He'll fire a link to the questionnaires and stuff that you can fill in. Give us your opinion because we do like to have them. And then me and Ryan will be back next week. Not sure what yet. Might be the Legacy Bowl, but we might leave that 2 weeks. So we might just do general draft things. We might do some rankings lists for Grandizer. We'll have a look through that and do something along those lines. But we will be back next week to go through all those little bits there. Let me just see if there's quickly any questions in the chat. I don't think so. Thanks to everyone who's been in. Mile Marker's been in the building. Brent's been in the building. Lisa's been in the building. Grandizer has been in the building. We really appreciate you all. If you've got anything you want us to do in the run-up to the draft, position groups you want us to scout, players you want us to scout, just let us know. And we will do it for you because we like doing this sort of thing. I think we're about done. Twitch, I've got nothing in on there. Okay. You know where to find us. Roar of the Lions UK, all online Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Just type us in, you'll find us straight away because we're getting big enough now to be the first search thing found in regards to that. Thanks to Lost Oceans, who's joined us on Twitch, to everyone else who's been in there as well. Hope you are doing well. And Lisa, I hope you're doing well as well. I've seen that news there about you. So just, yeah, hope everything's going all right. And we're thinking about you. We appreciate having you all in the building. Thanks, man, Bear Pig, as well. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. This has been our review of the Senior Bowl. We'll see you next week when we're going to talk Legacy Bowl, Combine, Draft, all that good stuff. Just remains for me to thank Ryan. Thanks for being in the building again. And we shall see you again very soon. One Pride.